Mute. Forgot to unmute the mic. What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Um, First, I want to apologize because I already know in advance. Just bear with me. I'm out of practice of doing these kind of shows, and I feel just so disorganized. Not only that, usually I schedule these for 2 o'clock, right? So I figured I was gonna have an extra hour to get my act together. Then I remembered I scheduled it for 1. I don't know why I did that. It just threw me all off. So anyway, we're gonna do the very best that we can to address this very important topic. um, I think what I'm gonna do, why is this so close to my face? I'm gonna do is, towards the end of the show, if you have specific questions that I did not address, I'll, set aside a few minutes to respond to them, and then that way, we can, make sure that everybody leaves this discussion with the information that they need to make a better and smarter decision about who you let into your world. Because I am of the opinion, after towards the end of this year, I will have been doing this for 30 years. I'm just like, dang, I'm old. But everything that I've seen and heard over the course of my life, including, my own personal relationships, those of family and friends, as well as those that come across my advice column, which there have probably been, I don't know, close to a million, because my first columns used to have 60, 70 questions in them every week for years. Not to mention Blog Talk Radio. I did Soul Beat Television. I did AOL. I did Net Noir. I did my own blog. And now I'm on YouTube. So when you put all that together, weekly shows, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, I'm sure I'm in the millions at this point of advice questions that I have addressed. So, long story short, putting all that together, I am of the mind that the number one decision that you make that will impact your life, your happiness, your physical, mental, and emotional health, your longevity, and I mean, just about everything else is who you choose to partner with. Now, what's really so stunning about that is that number one, which we've discussed several times, parents are not teaching their daughters how to properly look for a mate. They tell you stupid stuff, or you learn from your friends or TV or something. So a lot of the focus is on material things, what I call social status, how much money someone makes, their educational level, their power, like political power, or financial influence. Of course, what they look like, they stroke game. I mean, women will choose a man based on those kind of things. And if you have some confusion about that, please take a look at the video, the Sunday sermon we did a few weeks ago. Well, I guess it's been a month or so ago now, uh, called The High Value and Low Value Men. That goes into great detail about what kind of techniques you should be using and things that you should be looking for. What we're going to talk about today, though, is slightly different, and we're going to discuss some of the things that have to do with, I don't know, the focus is more on um, what kind of things that you probably have noticed and ignored, and why you got to get better at separating yourself from men. We're going to do that next week. This was also another suggestion that we address how to let go and move on. So I'm going to either do that next Sunday or the Sunday after. I'm not sure. Usually I do these every other week, but we'll see. But it is coming, so watch for the show page to be put up, and that will augment what we're going to discuss today. So let me look at my notes. This is stuff that I've collected for months, really. Every time I see something that's interesting on a topic, a newspaper article, magazine article, something on a blog or whatever, I print it out and I keep it. So I say, oh, I'll probably be able to use that. What kind of things happen? I mean, when we talk about choosing the wrong man, what that basically means is that you have involved yourself in a relationship that is unhealthy. There are a lot of factors to making a relationship unhealthy, because you want to look for something that's fun, you want to look for something that's exciting, you want to look for something that's stimulating, that maybe responds to some need that you have at that moment. Those kind of things change, and that's not necessarily the best. I mean, I can't tell you, well, you got a man who wants you to move in with him and you homeless, and so that might not be the best choice. Well, see, your needs in that moment, which is for housing and warmth and food, are going to take priority over the man's morals, values, and all that other kind of stuff. Because, living outside in the wintertime or in some homeless shelter with bed bugs and stuff is not really your cup of tea. I mean, you got a situation here that's immediate answer to your problems. Well, you probably got to go that route. However, you run into problems, and as long as you're ready to deal with them, that I guess that's okay. The other thing caveat I need to put in here right quick before we get started is that the things I'm going to go over are going to be of differing importance to women. Okay, where you are on the range, because some things might be super important to you and at the top of your list. For other women, it might be like number 5 or 6 or maybe even 10 or 12. But these things that we're going to talk about are all issues that negatively impact your mental, emotional, and sometimes physical health in a relationship. And you have to start getting smarter about recognizing these attitudes and the behaviors in the men that you date. This it shocks me to see how many women write this advice column and they're experiencing these things. They've seen these things happen. These things are happening to them, and yet they want to insist on staying in the relationship. And I just don't get it. I don't understand it. So let's get started here. Um, and I talked about this during February, this 2014 glamour. Look at my hair. What is going on here? Glamour survey that revealed that over half of the women surveyed, and there were several thousand, report being unhappy with their bodies, and approximately 80% of those can't even look themselves in the mirror without feeling, some kind of they want to criticize themselves. They hate themselves. There's something about themselves that they just don't like. And so they're critical and judgmental about themselves. Now, what kind of mind frame do you think that puts you in? If you don't think too much of yourself, your standards are going to drop to ground level. And you're going to pretty much choose, accept anybody who shows you the slightest bit of attention because they validate you in some way that you have been unable or unwilling to do for yourself. So you're getting your sense of who you are as a person of beauty, intelligence, talents, abilities, whatever it is, you're getting it from this man instead of getting it from yourself. So low self-esteem is the number one thing that's going to get you caught up in a trick bag with some knucklehead that you be sitting up there trying to figure out how in the world did this happen and how can you get out of this situation. So, you accept guys that don't meet your needs, that don't treat you well, that talk to you like you have a tail and bark. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that happens with your self esteem. So I caution you, if you have that kind of problem, be sure to listen to the February 2021 videos, all 30 days, 28 days rather, of that programming addresses self esteem and self love. You have got to have that if you're going to make any kind of smart decision about the men that you choose. You have got to take care of yourself. You got to respect yourself and you got to love yourself. That's the foundation for it, okay? So, why do women involve themselves in relationships with Mr. Wrong? Low self esteem is at the top of Deb's list. Fear of being alone is a big one. A lot of women say that, right? I'm scared of being alone. So you just gonna waste away your life with a fool, somebody who's making you depressed, spending up your money, abusing your kids, beating your behind, all that kind of stuff because you scared to be alone? Are you kidding me right now? But this is something that a lot of women, that's their justification. And believe it or not, you can have a fear of commitment yourself. I've talked about this before. In my mind, there are two kinds of People that avoid commitment, I call them the active and the passive. The active avoiders are the ones that just run away. Okay, the players, they lie to you, they run game, they ghost you. Those are people who are active commitment avoiders. Now, then there's the passive ones, and you think you want a commitment. You tell everybody you do, but what you keep doing is choosing people that you already know is hopeless to be with. You know that they're not going to commit to you. You know that they have some kind of insurmountable problem, drug addiction, alcoholism. They're in prison, they in and out of prison, they don't have no sense, they're crazy, they're homeless, they don't have a job, and here you want to swoop in with that S on your chest like you have a cape and can fly and stuff and save somebody. So but you're still at an emotional distance from this person because, like I said, you know that they're an inappropriate choice. You know it's never going to really go anywhere because this person's incapable of giving you the kind of relationship you want. But you choose them anyway because you are passive of commitment avoider. So you could always sit there and play the victim. Oh my God, he didn't want to commit to me. When in reality, you picked him because he couldn't commit to you. So you need to think about that. Number four on my list. You think you could change him, right? You give him some knucklehead, and you think you could change him to be the man of your dreams. When you can't change a man. When once he's out of Pampers, that's the only change you get to do. His diaper. Everything else, you don't change nothing. This thing is driving me crazy today. I don't know what's wrong with it. Okay. The other one, your priorities are screwed up. I talked about this at the top of the show. You want to pick a man for his money, for his car, for his looks, for the way he dances, for his stroke game, whatever, versus his character, his morals, his values, how he conducts himself in the world. What kind of presence does he have? Is he an honest person? Is he someone you can respect? You don't be looking at none of that. You looking at this silly stuff. And then you choose, but then you be sitting there like, oh no, what have what have I done? Or you ignore red flags. A lot of you do that. Decide, well, yeah, I know he cheated and he gave me a STD, but or I know he's married, I know he's living with somebody, I know he got some woman pregnant, but well, I know he lied to me and I know this and that and he stole my ATM card and took some money out of my account. But those are huge red flags. Huge. But I'm not sure what's going on there, why y'all choose to ignore them. And like I said, I want to keep talking. I want to reiterate this for those who just came in. These issues that I am going to be pointing out over the next hour and a half will vary in importance from woman to woman. Some of you will be able to still handle yourselves well and navigate a relationship with somebody that's probably inappropriate um, in a way that others will not. You will tolerate, accept, and be able to handle stuff that other women will not. That's on this list. Okay, so I just want to keep saying that. And this is the real big one. Think about this one. Psychologists say that when we choose a partner, most of us choose someone who has the negative traits of our opposite sex partner. That means you as a woman are choosing someone with the negative behavior patterns of your raggedy daddy. Okay, this is scientific fact. But what does that mean if your father was absent? You don't even really have a relationship with your father. Some of you might not even know who he is. You was raised up in foster care. You don't have no relationship with the fool at all. What does that mean? How is that going to play out in your choices of men? It's going to have a big impact. Likewise, even sometimes your dad is in the house, right? He's there. I mean, you look at me right there. But he's emotionally absent. He doesn't really interact with you. He doesn't tell you things. You never go places with him. He doesn't sit down and play games with you as a child. He doesn't interact with you at all. He goes to work, he comes home, and that's it. He's there. I mean, you could look at him, but does he really have any impact in your life? Did he really help you form who you are as a woman? No. A lot of women have those kind of daddies. So then what grows up, and you grow up and you're hungry for that, right? He's out of the country, did not raise you. That is the same thing. He's an absentee dad. And when you have, a parent that you want to have a relationship with, and that parent is not there mentally, emotionally, physically, because like I said, they could be right there physically, but gone mentally and emotionally, you have a hunger. You have a hunger for that, and it plays out in very interesting ways. But we'll be going into that more later. Some of you are trapped in negative relationship patterns, right? You keep choosing the same dude over and over. He just got a different face. He treats you the same way as all the other ones did. This is all evidenced by women who say, "Oh, all my men cheat on me," or "All my men are, call me names," or "They all, nobody ever is there for me." This kind of stuff. You're choosing the same dude over and over and over, and if that's happening, you've got to stop and take a look at what it is that you're doing. I mean, is this something that your dad did to you? Let's start there. Okay, your dad or maybe stepfather, maybe. I mean, whoever was that important male in your life as you were growing up. And note, if you have to get a piece of paper and pencil out, and note how that person made you feel, what that person did to you, what that person said to you, and see how similar it is to what's going on with this partner that you have right now. And I think you'll be shocked at how close they are. Some of you choose men who bring drama. You like drama. You know why you like drama? Because you're boring. I have a whole video on this channel about boring women. It was one of my first, it's probably about 10 years old. I did it a long time ago before I really started using my channel. And it's like these little cartoon characters. But it's about boring women and how they glob onto men in relationships. But you who don't have much going on in your life, you don't have anything that stirs up your own passion and interest. A man is your entertainment, a man is your hobby. So you tend to go from man to man, man to man, and not have nothing going on for yourself. You don't read, you don't write, you don't go to school, you don't take no classes, you don't have anything interesting. You sit around and watch TV all the time, and you cook and you take care of your kids, maybe go to church or something, but that's it. You're boring. Okay. And so then you look for some excitement, which everyone wants in their life. Everybody wants to feel some passion and excitement, but you're getting it from the wrong place, girlfriend. You're getting it from a relationship with full of drag and drama instead of creating some positive excitement in your world. I caution you to stop doing that. If that's you, please think about what you're doing. And then your kids are witnessing all this BS. Please stop that. Oh, and sometimes, it gets right down to the bottom line where women settle because they're tired of looking. They're tired of looking for Mr. Right. They feel like their biological clock is ticking. They want to have a baby, all this kind of stuff. And so they settle for, the first knucklehead that comes along that, seems halfway decent. And then they find themselves later. They had a kid they want and they're married and everything, but they're miserable. Now, again, I cannot tell you what to do. I repeat, these things are going to vary from woman to woman in importance. I cannot make that decision for you. You're going to have to do that. These are all things that will kind of get you thinking about the choices that you are making, and if the choice, like if presented with a new relationship, what kind of things you better be thinking about before you find yourself in a situation with a knucklehead. Now, let's talk about abusive relationships because especially for African American women, this is some scary stuff. The National Center on Violence Against Women in the Black Community has this little flyer, right? I printed it out from a PDF. This is scary. Intimate partner violence in the black community, okay? 45% of black women experience contact, sexual violence, physical violence, and are stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime. I think it's way higher than that because let's think about this part. What is the common thread in the black community amongst women? Protecting men, right? We want to protect them from the cops. We don't want a black man in another black man in prison. We gonna work it out. What stays in the house, what happens in the house stays in the house. This and that and blah blah blah. And even if you don't think that, your family's gonna guilt trip you into not saying anything because of those principles. Don't be a snitch, all this kind of stuff. That's what we hear. Okay, so this impacts black women's reporting of such violence, crimes, and stalking. So they say 45%. I say it's more like 95%. The other ones are the women who just don't talk, right? They're not going to tell nobody because they don't want to be the one that sends another black man to prison. Sometimes the woman's not going to send him to prison because he's the breadwinner. She's not working. They got kids, a mortgage to pay, and all this stuff. So she gonna take that butt kicking because she needs to keep a roof over her head and the kids' heads, and that's more important to her. She can heal them bruises. One thing she does not want to face is homelessness and starvation. So, there's a lot of reasons why a woman will put up with that kind of stuff in the black community, and those are some very solid reasons. According to a 2011 National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey, approximately 41% of black women have experienced physical violence by an intimate partner during their lifetime, compared to 30% of white women. And like I said, when you factor in that no stitch thing, it's way higher than 41%. They say 30% of Hispanic women, 15% of Asian and Pacific Islander women. So you see, we are at the top of the heap there. This is important that you guys recognize this, okay? It says that having children, being young, or having a locally born partner were correlated to recent experiences of intimate partner violence. Hmm. All right. Now we move on to talk about homicide. It's one of the leading causes of death for women aged 44 and younger. According to the CDC, Black and American Indian slash Alaskan Native women experience the highest rates of homicide, 4.4 per 100,000 in population, and over half of the homicides, 55%, were related to intimate partner violence. What does that mean? That means the most dangerous place for a black woman to be is in a relationship with a black man. That's what these statistics are telling you. And you consider that uh, African Americans, period, is like 13, 14% of the population in this country, right? That means that women, just say we're half of that. So say 7%. Black women are 7% of the population. Why are we more than half of the women murdered by their men? Why? This should kind of just reinforce for you the importance of choosing the right partner. You don't want to become a statistic like that. Okay. And again, these are only the reportings of those that they can prove. A lot of women, they're never found, or they don't really know how they expired. Right. This is, I'm sorry to be so hitting you with this hardcore stuff, but I want you to understand how important it is for you to eliminate knuckleheads out of your life immediately. If you hear any of the kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about coming from a man's mouth, you don't continue with him. And I don't care about, the fact that you lonely and all this kind of stuff. You're going to be lonely in a damn casket. And then what's going to happen to your kids? Well, you sitting up there involving yourself with some fool. These statistics, and I'm not even hitting the really tough statistics. I'm just want to give you an overview. Okay, now this said, now for when we talk about the R word, this says 9% of black women were, attacked in that way by an intimate partner during their lifetime. Okay, this is somebody that you already sleeping with. Why does he need to assault you like that? What is that about? And they always say that the R word is about power and control. And if you think about, the powerlessness that's reported that so many black men feel, and they get their sense of power and domination and feeling as a man by controlling women, then this is just another tool that they use to dominate you, intimidate you, and control you and break you down. Okay, and they say 9% again. If we quadruple that, it's probably closer to the truth because of the factors that I said before. We don't want another black man in prison. I need my baby daddy here, just all this kind of stuff. So they're not reporting it. And some women, I have to understand because I had a friend that this happened to with her husband. She didn't even understand that your husband could technically commit that kind of crime against you. She felt like her body belonged to him because they were married. I'm like, oh no, you had the right to say no to anyone. And she had no clue. So we got factor that in as well. This 9% is nowhere near what the reality is. Nowhere near. Then you add in stalking and you add in emotional abuse and you add in mental cruelty and mental abuse, gaslighting, all that kind of stuff that really tortures women in their spirit and makes them feel like they're just losing their minds. All of these kind of things factor into your relationship. All right. I'm just throwing this stuff on the floor because I don't know. I can't keep up. I have too many pieces of paper. What kind of things happen to you? What do you suffer when you're an emotional and you're I'm sorry, in an abusive relationship? There are a lot of things that happen. Because the abuse can be physical, it can be mental, it can be emotional, it can be financial, and or it can be sexual. All of those things constitute abuse. So, what kind of suffering do women have? You have physical damage to your body. Okay. It could be long term, it could be short term. It could be broken bones, bruises. Some women have concussions. Um, you might have some gynecological problems, headaches from getting pounded in the head all the time, blurred vision. It won't go away, ringing in your ears, right? Or, bones that aren't set right because you never went to the doctor. So now you have these debilitating, your posture changes, you have debilitating injuries. You can't walk and do all those activities that you used to do. I saw a video on TV one time where this woman had been pounded so many times that when she finally got away from her husband, there was some kind of community group or something. They actually had to do plastic surgery on her face to fix it because she had so many broken bones in her face over the years. Okay, it's this is important, and I really want to thank. Oh, I forgot her name now. Who recommended this topic because this was a good one. Psychological and emotional upheaval. You can suffer from that, right? Some women go, depression. They have suicidal thoughts. Others suffer from PTSD, or they slide into substance abuse, drugs or alcohol, to try to numb the pain. You have social issues. You lose friends, you lose relationships with your family, you lose jobs, which impacts your financial situation. A lot of women feel embarrassed and they feel guilty, about what's happening to them, especially if you have relatives or friends that want to flip it around and blame you. That happens a lot. Well, what did you do? Well, what did you say to him? Well, you should have just gave him what he wanted then. Your husband is your number one priority. They say stuff like that to you, and they never really admonish him for putting his hands on you or doing the things that he did. And not to mention the harm that observing this kind of stuff does mentally and emotionally to your children. Okay. They living in a household where this kind of stuff is going on all the time. Yelling, screaming, people, flying things through the air, bodies flying through the air when he's socking you and all this kind of stuff. Your kids are seeing this. If you don't want to save yourself because of you, save yourself because of your kids. They don't need to see all that. It messes them up. Boys grow up and they think that that's the norm, and then they're going to start pounding on somebody else's daughter. Okay, these are all things that you need to think about. Now let's talk about emotional abuse, name calling, criticism. They isolate you from your friends and family. They threaten to or actually do damage your property, your possessions, um, your vehicles and that kind of stuff. They undermine your parenting authority. Some of them we had an advice letter where a woman was her husband was teaching her kid to taunt and bully her, a 2 or 3 year old. He was getting the little boy in on it, calling his mother names and stuff. Or they dismiss the abuse. Oh, it's not that bad. You're just making it up. You just complaining. Or they denied it ever happened. I didn't do that to you. You did it to yourself. Or they threaten to hurt you or to kill themselves if you report them. What a good way to wage a guilt trip, right? But anyway, all of those things are ways that they bully you into letting them have control. Um, this emotional abuse can manifest in your children as them being aggressive and bullying other kids at school. Either that or they go to the other side and they become, what I love to call a milk toast kid, in which they're the ones always getting bullied because they identify with their mama who's getting her butt kicked all the time, and so they think that's normal, right? They don't even defend themselves, just like you don't. Okay, then let's talk about. Hold on a second. I have way too many pieces of paper here. Let's talk about verbal abuse. Okay, that was emotional abuse. When they make fun of you, they yell at you a lot. They make you feel bad about yourself. And a lot of women, if you notice, they experience this in the early stages of dating. The guy violating their boundaries, sending them D pics and, doing all kind of crass and crude things and overstepping things. And yet the women continue to date these guys. And I want you guys to stop doing it. He's showing you what kind of man he is. You need to pay attention. This is somebody who doesn't care what you want. He's not respecting you. He's not respecting your boundaries. And you want to waste your time. Well, I talked to him about it again. We keep talking about it. I asked him, how could I make him understand? How could I make him see? This and that. You say all that kind of stuff instead of leaving his behind. You're not going to change a grown man. He is what he is, and he's showing you who he is, and you're ignoring it. Your hunger for a relationship, even though it's a stupid one, is what's keeping you there. You guys really need to stop doing that. Okay? These are the things, you got to pay attention when they show you who they are. Accept that that's who he is. Don't dismiss it. Don't try to like work around it, ignore it, think it's going to change if you get married, if you have a baby, if you move in together. These are all pipe dreams and hope-filled wishful thinking that women have instead of dealing with the man as he is. Uh, uh, uh. All right. That's enough of that. Okay, so what kind of things count as verbal abuse? There are things that are non physical, they're all words, but they get into your head and they hurt you. They make you feel bad about yourself, they make you doubt yourself, they cause mental anguish. Okay, you start questioning, is this true? Am I really this kind of person? We've seen this happen, during advice column letters, where a lot of women just don't have the confidence in themselves to trust themselves. And they see that this is wrong, that this is bad, that what he's doing and saying to them is not something that needs to be done or said that they should be accepting, but they do. And then they write us asking, well, do I have the right to do this? Am I wrong? And that always amazes me. Who knows what works better for you than you do? Why do you need the buy-in and validation of a complete stranger, which I am, in order to make a decision in your own best interest? I don't understand that, but that's what happens. Okay, so how do we avoid getting into these kind of relationships? Part of it starts with you really thinking about what it is you should be looking for. And again, we have to start at the foundation, at the basis, because so many young women have not been taught these things, nor have they witnessed them in their own family relationships. They had their friends don't have these things, but the number one thing you should be looking for is somebody to respect you. I would rather have a man respect me than love me. You don't have to love me, but one thing your ass best do is respect me and my choices, my opinions, my thoughts, and my goals. That's it. If you can't do that, then there's no future here, son. There's nothing here for you. And how they do that, right? You say, oh, I'm thinking about, I've always wanted to paint, since I was a kid. I was interested in drawing and art and everything, but I went to school and I got my business degree. And now I want to take some art classes in painting. And, I think it's just very creative and I just love it. The colors. There's what you gonna do that for? That's just a waste of time, waste of money. Who told you you had artistic talent? You draw stick figures. Ha 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 ha. Nobody thinks that you have any artistic talent. You tripping. That kind of stuff. Out. Out of my world. But some of you will you'll bury your dreams because he said something like that to you and you start doubting yourself instead of getting rid of him and moving on with your plans. But I'll go into that. I have a whole list at the end here that I'm going to go over of common relationships issues that make women unhappy and have long-term impact. Okay, but we're gonna close out with that. So if you have trust and you have honesty and you have good communication and you have somebody who's got a pretty good sense of himself and a good personality, he's honest, you can trust him and he respects you. That's a good foundation for for at least continue dating him to find out more. If any of those things are missing, like we had cases where people, like, they met somebody on online dating, right? Dude lied about his age, he lied about his height, they lie about their weight. Okay, you already involving yourself with a liar. He done already showed you who he is. Is that who you want? Because he's trying to manipulate you into a relationship with him based on untruths versus who he really is. Think about what that means. Manipulate you into giving him what he wants by lying to you. That's what's happening. Okay, you all might not think of it that way, but what's exactly what's happening. He's trying to, he wants what he wants from you, and he's gonna tell you whatever he thinks you want to hear to make that happen. He's a fucking liar. Okay, and you should immediately cease all contact with him. You can continue with that means that you have accepted a liar into your life, a man who is a manipulative control freak who lies to you. That's what that means. See, I'm trying to break this down so that you guys will understand the importance of the things that you notice. This is not just stuff that you ignore and think, oh, well, it's just, well, he told me the truth later, so this and that. Why can't he tell you the truth at the beginning? You told him, right? Okay, so if you have something that you have these things that are okay, you have somebody who lies to you, you have somebody who disrespects you, you have somebody who doesn't really want to talk to you or half-ass talks to you, who wants you to be different, who wants you to change and not be who you are. Well, those are signs that you are in an unhealthy relationship, and you should dump him. Okay, you know somebody coming the door telling you about what you need to change. I done told you all about the dude that I mean on our first date. He's up there telling me what I need to do with my hair, how I need to change my haircut. I mean, cut my hair. That I was already trying to grow out from a haircut I had before. Or do you want to tell me what I need to do with my eyebrows? See, it starts small. It's not the kind of thing that might really trigger you. That's why I want to go over all of this kind of stuff with you. These are signs. These are red flags that this man's is not about you. He's trying to get control over you, and those kind of statements are tests to see how much power you're going to give him over you, how much control you're going to let him have. Okay? You don't let somebody come in the door telling you what you need to change, what you need to do. This is who I am, clown. Take it or leave it. I just wish more women had that kind of spine, that kind of courage. Um, do you know what you really need? Do you know what really is important to you in a relationship? If you don't, if you're not really sure, you still stuck on stupid, like, well, he got to have a car. He got to dress nice. I want somebody who's a good dancer. I want somebody who take care of his kids. Okay, he got to look like something. He got to be able to put it down in the bedroom. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't have all those things or do those things. I'm saying those should not be the number one things that you're looking for. Okay, you need to go deeper. Those things are like, I mean, of course, you want somebody who keeps you satisfied. I mean, that would be kind of a hard situation long term. But y'all can work together on that. It's very rarely perfect from the outset, and when it is, you got you a hoe on your hands who's had a whole bunch of practice. It's better to get a guy who's, decent, enthusiastic, and willing to work with you so that you both have the best experience possible after a time or two together. That's what you want. You don't want somebody who just comes in magically knowing everything. That means he's had way too much practice. And that means you about to be a fool. Because you're going to be giving him all kind of stuff, buying him stuff, let him use your car, let him move in and not pay no bills. All kind of stuff about to happen because you was hitting high notes. So you need to readjust your thinking on that. How many of you worry about stuff like what you need to do to maintain the relationship with him without thinking about what you're getting from him back? You focus on what you're giving and doing for him, but you're not really looking at, is this a balanced situation? What's he doing for me? How is he enriching my life? What is he bringing to my world that's making it better than it was before I laid eyes on him? This is important. A lot of you don't want to think like that. You feel like it's selfish. That's a selfish woman. You need to be selfish. There's nothing wrong with being selfish sometimes, especially when you first getting involved in a relationship. And it's important too to think about the traits. Like I said, you might see traits that are in line with your father that you didn't really think about. And those of you who are finding the same man over and over and over and over and over again with a different face, think about their similarities. Okay, why did I choose these men? It's time to get like butt honest with yourself. What was I looking for that I chose this food right here, and this one, and that one, and this one, and make lists. Write it out so you can look at it and study it. Because, thinking about it, we tend to like gloss over things. I want you to put the pen to paper or pen to keyboard and make a list. Well, they were all selfish. Every time I asked them to do something for me, not one of them came through for me, or they came through late, or they half-assed did it, so it still ended up having to do it myself. They were critical of me. Nothing I ever did was good enough. They made me feel small. They always compared me to other women, even their sisters and mama. They complained about everything. They blamed everything on me instead of taking responsibility for themselves. I was left with too much burden financially because he only half worked. He kept losing jobs. All he wanted to do was play video games all the time. Make a list. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Make a list and think about what kind of similarities those guys had, and then you think about how those similarities made you feel. Do you want to continue feeling like that for the rest of your life in a relationship after relationship? If not, now's the time to make a change and start choosing something different, recognizing when this kind of dude is in your face again and just skip him by. Don't do that to yourself. Stop treating yourself that way. Oh yeah, accountability. They don't. That's like a foreign word. You may as well be speaking Hungarian or something. They don't understand what you're talking about. The number one thing that you got to do is learn to separate physical attraction from absolute, deep, unfettered love. There's completely different thing. You can love somebody and be attracted to them too. You can also love someone and not be that attracted to them. I mean, moderately attracted, but not like that fireworks kind of stuff. A lot of you go for me, you want fireworks. You want that kind of thing where you can't think about nobody else. Your ass is trying to live a Harlequin romance. That's not the way that you choose a mate. Okay, you want to be attracted to your husband, like I said, certainly. But do you need to feel fireworks every time you look at him, like in the movies, like you did when you were 15? The answer to that is no. You should be looking for something that's more stable and solid. Yes, you love this man. Yes, you want to touch him. Yes, you want to kiss him and hug him. But you don't have to feel fireworks every time you turn around. Sometimes it's nice. But if you have a relationship that's all fireworks, then that means you don't have no other substance. That's the key focus of the relationship. And you about to have a problem. You are going to have a problem. Not only that, you need to keep your independence. There's a contingent of women on the internet promoting that women, uh, this femininity stuff, so that you, quote, attract a rich man so that you could be a stay at home mom, dependent upon him for your, your very life. Don't do that. I'm not saying you can't be a stay at home mom, but you better have some independence. You better have some money coming in from somewhere. You better have some kind of hustle on the side, something. You do not want to ever put yourself in a position where you're dependent on a man for every single thing, every dime, where you got to go to him like you a 10-year-old getting an allowance. What is that? It's so bad. I knew this lady, right? When I was young, she was about 18, 19, I was working at this brokerage firm in San Francisco, and one of the wives there, her husband refused to give her cash. She could never have money. I thought it was the most bizarre thing. After she told me this, and I don't know why she told me this, but and we had like a company party, and she just came and started telling me this stuff, and I was looking at her like, "Lady, why are you telling me this?" But it's so interesting. Okay, so she says he never gives me money, and but what she had was a credit card with no limit, so she could buy anything that she wanted on this credit card. So she was, and anyway, that's how I found out that why she was asked why she wanted to talk to me. She wanted to find out if there was anything that I wanted at. They used to have a store in San Francisco called Ruth Atkins. It was very, high end, and I Magnin. Of course, there was all Macy's. These were the high end stores in San Francisco at that time. And she said if there's anything that I wanted in those stores to let her know, and she would go, we could go shopping and she would buy for me, and I could give her half the value of it in cash. She just wanted some cash. I'm like, so Auntie Deb cleaned up. I got me some leather. I had this suede blazer and skirt suit that no way in this world could I have afforded that on that little meager salary I was making at 18. But I was fly as hell for that year. And I would just give her cash, $100, $200, whatever. And I was getting all kind of designer stuff fresh out the store with the label on it. It wasn't hot. Okay. And that's how she got around it, because she gave up her independence, financial independence, to live this life with this rich man, and she was miserable. She was so unhappy. He was so controlling and weird. It was just, I don't know. I looked at him way different after that. I was like, ugh, this dude, something's wrong with him. Well, they didn't have cash advances then, or she couldn't get a cash advance, because that's on the card. You can turn that off where there's no cash advances. So, just because the company offers that, that's an option. You can have them remove that option where you can't do it. And all the credit cards was in his name, so she wasn't getting no cash advance. But she could get merchandise, and then she could sell the merchandise, and so that's what she did. No, she wasn't doing anything. Get out of here with that. Putting shit on people. You don't know what you're talking about. Um, okay, I don't want to talk about this. Why did I put all of this in here? Oh, this is something I printed out. Hold on a second. Let me get rid of some of these sheets of paper. Okay. Some of you, and we have a whole series here, women who were shared stories of their relationships with narcissists. And some of these guys, though, are downright sociopaths, right? How do you know if you're dating a sociopath? There's some telltale signs. You with a dude who who's like impulsive, and he makes like rash decisions and does stupid shit, and you just sit there looking at him like, what? And a lot of times, they'll tell you this kind of stuff right before you get involved with him. If you listen well to his stories, you'll be able to determine what kind of man you dealing with. Okay, so this one girl was telling me how she got this boyfriend, right? She living with this dude, and they were supposed to be saving to buy a house, which I thought was so stupid. So anyway, they had about $10,000 saved up in a joint account. He had a friend who got some new rims for his car. Remember them kind of rims where one part spinned one way and the other part spinned the other way, so it looked like they was always moving as you drove. He said his friend bought some of those, so he decided he want them. He go down to the bank account, draw out the 10 grand, and go and buy, put down them spinning kind of wheels on his car, and comes home all excited and happy like a little kid with a new toy. So the dreams that they had of buying his house to get to buying his house went up in smoke, and they was even driving around on their dreams. Now, the thing that was so interesting was he had a history of doing stuff like that, but she ignored it, right? And she gonna save money with this fool anyway. That's what I'm saying. You got to listen better, and you got to understand that what you hear about a man's behavior and attitudes, how that's gonna play out long term in a relationship. If you have a guy you saving for a house, you want a man who's serious about saving for the house, not somebody who's like so unstable and so immature that he flies off and he does all these kind of things on a whim. That was his behavior pattern. He would do stuff that just showed that he lacked maturity and focus. I don't know what she was thinking. You can also have these guys who, they drive stupid. Well, sometimes with your kids in the car or on a motorcycle with your kid on the back. Okay. You also have guys who, okay, not only financially risky, investing in stupid stuff, they getting scammed all the time from people. They loan money to people who have a sob story, and of course, they're never going to get it back, or they do risky sexual behavior. And this is most men. That's how they end up a baby daddy because they be going raw dog in some women they don't even really know. First, one night stand, somebody met off the internet and all this kind of stuff, right? And then here they come and want to be in a situation with you and do the same thing to you. If you have a man who comes up to you that you're not really with like that, and he wants to approach you and do the raw dog thing, understand what time it is. You have somebody who is very immature and who is that impulsive, self-centered type of dude. He doesn't care about the ramifications or repercussions of his behavior. He's living in the moment. That is not a good bet for a husband or father. That's not even a good bet for a boyfriend. That's not a good bet for nothing because he'll get you killed. You end up with some dreadful disease and waste away somewhere, messing with his behind. He don't care about himself and he don't care about you. He's going after what's the immediate benefit and the immediate pleasure that he's after right now with no thoughts about the possible long-term consequences. And some of you will do it with him. And then you end up with some kid by some man you don't even really know, trying to figure out what happened. Well, I can't get abortion. I don't know why. It's like two stupid people that made a baby. All right. And then let's talk about the ones who, they disregard social rules. They disregard social conventions. They do what they want to do. How do you have a sign of that? Well, because very often they see themselves as intellectually superior to other people. Other people, they're always putting other people down. They're talking about how stupid people are, what they don't have, and how he's better. He got more. He knows fancier people. He knows people like who do this and that and blah blah blah. He's got this. He's got that. If you have a guy who's doing that kind of conversation, that's somebody that you should dump. Okay, not only is he a remarkably insecure individual, but he's got this superiority complex. Not only is he going to be feeling like he's superior to other people, he's going to feel like he's the same way to you. Don't get it twisted. Okay, he might not hit you with it yet, but you on the list. Trust me. Then what you gonna do? See, that's what I'm saying. You gotta see, you gotta understand what you're hearing and what you're seeing. When dudes be like that and they start bragging about all the stuff they got or talking about who they know and all that stuff, I dump them immediately. If not soon, I gotta go. I gotta get off the phone now. I don't want to hear that. What you doing? Let's talk about what you actually doing. Don't compare yourself to other people to me. Don't tell me who you know who's famous and rich and all this kind of stuff. I don't give a shit. They not doing nothing for me. And obviously not for you either. You just want to be hanging on somebody's coattails and trying to get some kind of pub and cred for who you know because you're nothing. You're trash. You trash. So you sit up there trying to, get some kind of comeuppance by thinking that somebody's gonna be impressed by who you know and all this old stuff. Y'all better pay attention to that kind of stuff. I'm old now, so I see all these things. Well, my dad, used to clue me in on a lot of stuff even when I was younger. But as you get older, You have more life experience and you see these things and you recognize them. And so, I'll be like, ooh, I'll be rolling through dudes. It is like, oof. They have one conversation and I'd be like, oh my God, yeah. Whew, look at the time. I be done. All right. What if you got a dude that's got like an awful temper? Now my temper's bad. Can you imagine two people like me in the same relationship? That would be a nightmare. My husband was so super calm, except to other people, he would go off on them. But with me, he was super calm, super patient. I was the firecracker in our relationship. And but you can't have two people that have a bad temper. It's bad things happen. Like corners be coming and stuff. That's not a good idea. But you got somebody who wants to fight other people all the time. He always getting in fights at bars. He fight with his friends. He fight with people at work. He just want to be arguing, fussing, and fighting and keeping a whole bunch of shit stirred up that ends in violence. He gonna threaten somebody. He gonna do this to somebody if they. I mean, he's always talking that kind of stuff. You got somebody who's not wrapped too tight. That's inappropriate. A man will resolve issues and conflicts with words, and if he can't do it with words, he'll do it in court. He gonna shut your ass down, but he gonna use court system to do it. He's not gonna be sitting up there talking about what he gonna do to you or some other individual. Okay, you got somebody who talks like that, flee. Because like I said, he's talking about doing it to other people. Don't think he won't do it to you. Okay. I dated this guy. Well, I'm gonna tell you all this. I dated this guy, right? And he used to work at this grocery store. This store's been out of business for forever now. And I saw on the news he had been having trouble with them at work, right? Because there was a bunch of people. He was the only black one there, and they gave him hell. You know what he did? He burned that store down. He started a fire in that store. He didn't tell me until months later. And he said, "Remember when that store burnt down?" I said, "Yeah, it was all on the news. Big old, I mean, total store destroyed, right? They never rebuilt it either." And he said, "You know how that happened?" And then he told me how he did it. And I was like, "Okay." Now he was trying to get me to date him. I mean, he was somebody I knew. I talked to him here and there, but we wasn't like, seriously dating or anything. He wasn't like my man or nothing. And honey, after he did that, I told my daddy. And my daddy said, "That MF is not ever coming back up in this house. Don't you even talk to him anymore." And so that was that. You know. That was that. So my father recognized that he gets that mad where he gonna be doing that kind of stuff, destroying millions of dollars worth of property and stuff. What you think he would do to you if you pissed him off? He didn't have to tell me twice because it already scared me that he would do it and that he was telling me. And he was like all gleeful about it and stuff. Like that's what they get. Kind of thing. So you got somebody. I mean, I'm a vindictive person, but even I know I'm not gonna do no crazy stuff like that's gonna have me in prison for 20 years. Deb doesn't like bars. Okay, not those kind. I like the bars where you get like whiskey and stuff. I don't like the bars where they be, no. So I would never do anything like that. So he was cray cray. This is a true story. This is a guy that I personally knew, and at this time, I think I was about 17 or so. I really wasn't interested in having no. He was a little older. He was about 19, and I was like, yeah, honey, daddy banned him from the house. He's like, and my father used to pack a gun too. So he was looking like, and if I see him anywhere near this house, I'ma shoot him. So I was like, okay, well, let's just do that. Now, what if you have a mate that's jealous? You got a dude who expresses jealousy and insecurity. Remember the time I told you about the guy I went out with? He was on our second or third date or something, and he was at my house, and my friend called about the resume and stuff, and dude was like, "Who is that on the phone? Oh, that's one of your ends, this and that," and had like all this attitude. And I'm not even. I mean, this is like our second. I don't know, one of them early dates, but we wasn't a couple. I hadn't been committed to him. I was going out with other men. This was just happened to be his night. Okay, no sexual activity was happening. I hadn't even kissed him. So I'm like, and he was like all bent out of shape because I was on the phone with another man. He lost his mind. I tossed him out and had to pull my knife on dude. I'm telling you, I will cut you. You better get out. But I'm like, okay, so you have a man. A lot of you will see a man who's jealous and insecure, and who talks about all this kind of stuff, and you think it's cute. You think it's flattering. You think, oh, that means he loves me because he's jealous. No, what that means is you have a fool on your hands. That's what that means. You're not gonna be able to do nothing. Every single thing he's gonna be questioning you about, blaming you, accusing you of stuff. He's gonna make your life a living hell. When you got somebody who's jealous and insecure, you need to get rid of them. Because you can't live in a cage like that, and you want to be that. Well, I try to reassure him. I'm not doing anything with nobody. It's just he I just want him to feel like, he could trust me and this and that. So you've been going through all these changes to try to appease this fool in his jumpsuit. This is like a bottomless pit, a black hole in space. There's no way you can fill that up. That's who he is. He's all messed up in the brain. Okay? He's never going to trust you. He doesn't trust women. He probably doesn't even trust himself. So you have somebody like that. You cannot be in a solid, healthy relationship with a man like that. And I'm telling you, they ask you, well, who is that on the phone? Well, who you texting? Well, who is you calling? Well, I want you to throw away your pictures of your exes. I want any of that kind of stuff. Anything like that that tries to take control of what you do and how you do it with other people. Some of you be jealous of your kids. They be jealous of their kids. You have a baby with him. You married or whatever. That's your baby daddy. Y'all in a couple relationship, and he jealous of the time and energy that you have to put into an infant. A helpless infant that can't do nothing for himself, they flip all out and get stupid. But the signs that he was going to be like that were demonstrated months and months and years, sometimes before that. But you ignored them, or you went through this appeasing process, like I said, because you feel like, well, I can prove to him that I'm not going to be like them other women. I'm not going to hurt him. I'm this. So you waste all this time trying to make this man feel good about himself. You can't do it. Okay, you cannot. You can't do it. All right, so let's move on from that. Let's talk about men who have a double standard. A lot of these are very religious types, right? They're going to hit you with the religion, Bible, Quran, whatever. They, got some religious thing they're going to be throwing at you about why they should be able to do something because they're a man and why you shouldn't. Very patriarchal and sexist. But women ain't men, and you can't do everything a man does. You say that to me one time, and we're done. I mean, done, done. There's no coming back. Don't even call me. If I see you on the street, I'm gonna walk by you like I've never seen you before. And see, like I said, as a more mature person, I recognize what that means. You youngsters, I'm trying to hip you to it so that you don't waste a decade or more of your life in a relationship with a knucklehead, getting your face beat in, getting your freedoms curtailed, having your kids terrorized because you didn't recognize a fool when he was in your face in the early stages, so you could have just passed him by. There's millions and millions and millions of men in this world. You don't have to be with this one. Okay, you really don't. You don't have to be with any of them. You could just wait and be single for a minute and just, get your mind right and then go out and start looking for a man. Looking for a man is more important than looking for a job. Looking for a man is more important than looking for a home. Looking for a man is more important than looking for a breeded kind of dog, a fancy designer purse. Any of the stuff that you guys spend all this time researching online, looking at consumer reviews and all this stuff. The man that you choose to marry, date, and have children with is more important than all those things put together because it could make you miserable for the rest of your life. Or it could bring you immense joy and peace of mind. Or you have you around there grinning like a Cheshire cat all the time. You have got to put more importance on how you choose a man. Stop just letting them choose you. I mean, it's nice that he's interested. Okay, that's step one. But after that, you got to sit there and look at him. Okay, so you interested in me? Let's see what you all about. Let's see if you make the cut. Right now, you might make the MQs, but I'm gonna review your application, son, and see if you move on to the next phase of the interview process. Okay? And I'd make it like a joke. I say it like that, and they laugh, but they understand what time it is. Yeah, I'm talking to you, so that means if I decide to go on a date with you after we have a conversation, that means you met the basic MQs. Does that mean I'm going to commit to you? That doesn't mean I'm going to be with you. Doesn't mean I'm going to sleep with you, kiss you, hug you, hold your hand, and want to meet your mama, meet your ratty ass kids and your baby mama. It don't mean none of that. It merely means we're having a conversation and you met the basics. Now let me get in your head and see what you got, what's going on there. 90% of them, 95% of them don't make the cut. I don't even tell you guys about the dudes I go out with and talk to. There's no point. They're not around long enough. Okay. So you got a guy who's got double standards, right? It's okay for him to be, showing up late all the time, but you show up 5 minutes late and it's like the sky has fallen in, like he's Chicken Little or something. He's running around having a fit because you're late. But when he's late, it's no big deal. You're supposed to just be patient and wait, right? Or, you know, it's okay for him to interrogate you and question where you were and who you was with and where you was going and all this kind of stuff. But you can't ask him. You don't ask me them. You don't ask me questions about where I am. I was where I was at. Or he can go and hang out with his friends half the night, come home drunk and all this kind of stuff. But you try to go somewhere with your girls and just until 11 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock. Oh, this guy he done lost his mind. He's going crazy. I can't have my woman hanging out on the street, running the street like she's single. Oh, but it's okay for him to do it. You see what I mean? So you got something like that, and you have to find these things out. And on the video here called "The Man Behind the Mask," okay, "The Man Behind the Mask." That's the title of the video. You, I give you a lot of suggestions for kinds of conversational openers where you can get into his head and find out how he thinks. It's very ground level stuff, basic stuff, but it at least gives you an idea of how this guy thinks. And is this something that makes sense for you to continue with him? All right. So then we talk about double standards. Okay, now let's move on to, is he the manipulative type? This is most of them. Um, how do they manipulate women? Wow, so many different ways. They hit you with the pity party. This is early stages. They start telling you about how they've been hurt before, right? We've all heard this one. Well, I can't really trust women because, when I was 15, this girl broke my heart. Have you looked in the mirror lately? Your behind is pushing up on 40. And you still talking about when you was 15? Or, because my wife, she left me and she took my kids. Okay, but then he leaves out the part where he dogged her and dismissed her and cheated on her and lied to her and didn't carry his end of the weight in the marriage and left everything on her and overburdened her and treated her poorly and talked to her like she had a tail. He leave all that out, right? He leaves all that out. So she finally gets fed up and she leaves him, and that's all he want to talk about. He want to talk about what somebody did to him, like he's a victim, an innocent victim. They do that all the time. And then those of you who, have that soft heart, you fall for it. Oh, she cheated on him and she hurt him and that's why he's like that. No, he's like that. He's saying that to you because he knows you're stupid and you gonna believe it and listen to it. And say, when they start that, what I tell them? Well, she must have had a good reason. What kind of shit did you pull that made her do that? Well, no, why would you say it like that? Why you got to be? Because no woman gets married to a man and then leaves him for no reason. She left you for a reason, especially they got kids and stuff. You did something to her. Don't think I was born yesterday. Okay, what did you do or not do? Is one of them too. Probably a combination thereof. They always want to play that thing and try to get you to feel sorry for them. Well, I'm between jobs. I can't really take you out that much because I don't have no money. Well, you know what? Then you don't need to be trying to date because you're trying to date to get your dick wet. And I don't go out with men, and I definitely don't sleep with men who can't give me what I want in a relationship. So later for you, Mr. Brokey, we don't have time for you. You need to, instead of trying to get your dick wet, you know what you need to be doing? Looking online and finding a job or two. That's what you need to be doing. Or out driving around looking for a help wanted sign. You need to do something besides think that I'm going to be paying for everything on a date and everything's going to be on me and you're going to be in my house all the time, making butt prints on my couch and drinking up my beer. That's not going to happen, Captain. I don't know what to tell you, but I ain't that chick. You don't meet my MQs, you got to go. Yeah, it's not even empathetic. They're not empathetic. They just set saps because they fall for a sob story. I don't care. I mean, unless you show up in front of me and your bones sticking out your arm and you bleeding and you down to 2 pints, then I might feel sorry for you. Anything short of that, I don't care what's going on with you. You ain't my man. I just don't care. I care about me. And I care about my mental health and my emotional health. And I'm not listening to your games and your whining stories about what some woman 20 years ago did to you. I don't care. I'm glad she did it. You know, when men get hurt like that, it builds character. Obviously, it didn't work on you though, because you just a whiny ass baby. But I don't have that kind of pity for him. I talk about him like a dog. Don't come and talking and whining to me about nothing. That's not gonna work. That's gonna backfire on you big time. Because I'm gonna look at you, and then I'm gonna be like, and then I'm gonna start reading you. So that's not gonna work. Don't do that. Not here. But that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna work. Okay, so how do they do? A lot of them, or they try to make you feel guilty. Well, if you loved me, you would this and that. Or my last women did that. Or my exes used to do this and that for me. Yeah, well, where are them bitches now? Maybe you need to go on back over there. That's what they get from me. Since their life over there was so lovely, happy, and wonderful and shit, what you doing over here in my face? Because I'm not doing none of that. I don't do stuff for men. I don't help men at all. I'm not giving your ass a stick of gum. I'm not doing anything. So, don't look for me. Go get that from your daddy, your uncles, your brothers, and your dudes. You all should be helping each other. Don't look for me to help you. That's not my job. Or they start, oh, this is the one that really works. Like they start flattering you, right? And they usually do it in a way. Okay, so you look good and everything. Oh, you fine, this and that. You look better than my ex, or you do this and that better than my ex. And see, you fall for it. I'm telling you, if they hit you with that, you need to shut that shit down immediately. Okay, but most of you don't understand the game that's about to be run on you. You don't see it. So he tells you, oh yeah, you do this better and this and that, blah blah blah. And so you're like, oh, thank you. You just all excited. You go run and tell your friends. He say I'm better than all these other women. This and that. Right? Okay, but then pretty soon, now that he built you up right now, when he wants to yank your chain and break you down, he yanks that rug out from under you. You go flying, and your ego goes with it. And you know why? Because you put your self-esteem and your ego and everything else in his hands by them words he used, that flattering build-up nonsense that he was doing. That's why I tell you 900 times. Okay, you control your emotions. Whether a man says you ugly, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're stupid, you have the exact same reaction every time. It doesn't matter what he says because you know, okay, you have determined who you are and what you are and your standing in this world. You don't need a man to validate you. And once you get to that point and you control your thought, your thinking, and your feelings about yourself, you're bulletproof. As far as these kind of games go, they can't run this game on you because it doesn't work. You're not looking for him to validate you in any way, shape, or form. You don't care what he thinks. I mean, who told you could think anyway? That's the attitude that you need to start figuring out how to get. You don't depend on a man to flatter you about nothing. Fuck him. That's how I feel. I don't know what I want your opinion. I'll give it to you. Don't tell me nothing. And I was born fine. I'm going to die fine, and I'm going to be fine every day in between. I don't need you to tell me nothing about what I look like. And you have a differing of opinion. Kiss my ass, sir. I don't care what you think. And like I said, I have already decided that I'm the finest thing walking. So any opinion contrary to that is of no merit. It has no bearing in my life because I decided what I am and who I am. Nobody else's thoughts impact that. Okay. I mean, it's nice, you guys enjoy the channel, you enjoy the work here. Say thank you, Deb, and that kind of stuff. That's different because that's about the work that I'm doing. And we all know I'm doing that for you. I tell you, I'm doing that for you. I mean, some of you appreciate it, and some of you, it's too much for you. You can't handle it. But whether you appreciate it or whether you don't, and you hate my guts, and you tell me about, call me names, whatever you're gonna do, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I'm gonna keep doing it the way I do it, and I'm gonna keep doing it with a smile on my face because it's what I want to do. Okay? Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's like I said, it's nice, but it doesn't really impact what I do or what I think about myself either way. Okay, but it's nice that you guys acknowledge it when it has helped you. That's very, very great to hear, and it means that we're doing the right thing on the channel. That's different. But I'm talking about when you got some man trying to tell you something because he's trying to blow your head up. You better be careful. You putting too much power in his hand. Now you got these guys who, you know, they want you to pay for them. A lot of you do that. You pick him up in your car. You drive halfway around the country to get this guy. You buy him plane tickets to come fly and see you. You pay his bills. You pay his child support. You pay his car notes. You pay his rent. You let him move in with you. He don't pay no bills. You basically are treating him like he's one of your kids. You just, coming for him. Why are you doing that? How can you feel excited about a man who thinks it's okay for a woman to pay for him, for a woman to buy him things, for a woman to step up and take care of his manly responsibilities, yet he still wants to call himself your man and still get the respect of a man even though he's acting like a 2-year old? How does that work? I just have never understood that. If I'm taking care of you as a kid, you're a kid and I'm not sleeping with you. Okay, and that's not gonna happen. Don't look for me to be romantic with you because that feels yucky. Okay, I can't respect you as a man if you acted like a kid. Yeah, he's your son. Least just said he's like your son. No. Yet so many of you get yourself caught in that trap and you run around doing everything for the dude. He's sitting around on his house. You don't want to go into bed. I mean, going to work every day, and he's just laying in the bed playing video games, smoking weed, and just carrying on like an idiot, a grown man. And you be proud to tell people that you have a man. No, you don't have a man, sister girl. You confused. Look up man in the dictionary. He ain't that. He's an adult male, maybe, but he's not a man. Manhood has standards. We're gonna be having a talk about that too. I got a guy I'm gonna talk. He says there's 132 standards, things that you gotta meet to be a man. I'm like, dude, 132? That's just a bit much. But anyway, I want him on. We're gonna talk about his theory. And I was just very intrigued. So I'm trying to hook that up for a couple of weeks from now. So let's talk about these, manipulative kinds of abusive, controlling, manipulative partners. And you should, think about the things that have happened to you in your relationships where you ended up feeling sick and tired and exhausted being in this relationship. You felt unfulfilled. You were stressed out. Hair started falling out. One of my neighbors I saw outside yesterday, and this is the couple that the police had to get called on them and stuff because they was fighting. They speak Spanish. I mean, she speaks English pretty good. He doesn't really speak English that well. But he has this mean face all the time. He looks mean, mad all the time. And so I see her outside, right? And so we both unload stuff out of our cars. And I saw she had cut her hair, this cute little bob, but it looks so thin. And I'm looking at her, and I told her before, you need to start eating more omega 3s because your hair. And I gave her a list of kind of stuff, some dark chocolate, some nuts, and some, avocados and salmon and stuff like that. I said, you need to eat that kind of stuff. She had seasoned. So I told her everything she needs to eat. She said it did help, but her hair is so scraggly. And I said, girl, what's happening with you? Where's your hair? And she said that it has been falling out because she's been so stressed out. This man's stressing her the fuck out. Okay. And then he beats her behind anytime he wants to. And I don't know. I mean, at one point, I don't know where dude went. He was gone for a couple of weeks. Probably with some broad because she was steady crying, and just lost so much weight, just stressing about this man. See, I refuse to have my life like that. I'm just not gonna do that. We're not gonna do it. So anyway, let's talk about this. You on the list. I'm gonna go through this list, and you can say yes. This happened all the time, or it's only happened once or twice, or this one has never happened. Now, if you get 3, 4, 5 yeses on this, that means that you were either in or currently in a toxic relationship that is going to ultimately blow up in your face. Okay. And like I said, these things may sound rather innocuous. Not like, any one of them by itself would be kind of something to get on your nerves, but you start saying how you get 3 or 4 yeses on here, like 3 or 4 all the times or most of the time or frequently kind of thing. Okay, so you think about it and listen to each one and you answer yourself. You don't have to put it in the chat room unless you just want to. But if you want to, of course, we all nosy and we would love to see what you got to say. Okay, this is the first one. He embarrasses and makes fun of you in front of your friends or family. If you've experienced that, these are the choices. Yes, this has happened, almost all the time. It's only happened once or twice, or it's never happened. Those are your three options. Most of the time or frequently, once or twice, or not at all. All right. He makes fun of you and he embarrasses you in front of your friends and family. Coworkers would also be included. Neighbors, I mean, whatever. He's embarrasses you in some other people's face. Or he puts you down your accomplishments or discourages your goals and dreams. Okay. He makes you feel like you are unable to make sound decisions. They do that by criticizing the decisions that you make, picking them apart, telling you how stupid they are, or why you should have chose to do something else by his grand emperor thinking. He uses intimidation or guilt or threats in order to make you do what he wants you to do, agree to what it is he wants you to agree to. Right? Has that ever happened to you? Frequently, all the time, frequently or slash all the time, maybe once or twice, or it's never happened. Those are your three options. Told you what you can and cannot wear. This includes makeup, not just clothes, makeup. Okay? Told you what you can and cannot wear. Tells you what you need to do with your hair. Because he don't like it like that. Okay? Remember the options. Yes, it happens frequently or almost all the time. It's happened, once or twice. Or no, that's not that he's never done that. Okay, those are your three choices. It's gonna be one of them three for each one of these things I'm telling you. He tells you that you're nothing without him. The flip side of that is he tells you that he's nothing without you, and that's why you have to stay with him, no matter how he acts, because you're supposed to give him unconditional love. They hit you with that all the time. Okay. Another one is that he treats you roughly, physically. He grabs you, he pushes you, he pinches you, he shoves you, or he hits you. Likewise, in that is if he's the kind who likes to grope you. Remember, we've had some letters like that. Women are talking about the guy twisting their nipples, grabbing their boobs or butt and stuff. And sometimes in front of their kids or in front of their family. And they don't like it. They tell him to stop, and he does it anyway. Okay? Do you have a guy who does that? He is overly physical with you in ways that you don't want him to do. He calls you several times a night or shows up at different places where you are to make sure that you're where you said you were going to be. Some of them couch this in concern. Oh, I was worried about you. Well, it's not I don't trust you, it's them I don't trust. Have you ever experienced that? You know, Text me as soon as you get home. Well, who's there? They want to know where you are. Well, who's there? They want you to give them a rundown of all the guests. I don't know these people. Even if I do, I don't know what you're talking about. And then we break up right after. I'm not giving out no information. Get out of here. Or he uses drugs or alcohol as an excuse for why he hurts you with words or with his hands. Something he said to you or something he did to you, and he said, oh, well, I was drunk. Well, I was high. I don't know what I was doing. Yes, you do. Has this ever happened to you? Think about it. He blames you for how he feels or for how he acts, especially towards you. Well, you made me hit you. Well, if it wasn't for you and how you do me, I wouldn't have cheated. Well, you don't encourage me. That's why I don't have a job. Well, you wouldn't do my resume for me. That's why I don't have a job. Right? It's your fault that I don't have a good relationship with the kids because you so close to them. He pressures you sexually for stuff that you're not interested in. You don't really want to do that. You're not ready for it. If you're, a very young woman, you might not be ready for all of that activity. You just started dating dude, but he's pressuring you, trying to guilt trip and coerce you into sleeping with him when you don't want to. Even if you're an older woman and you just met the guy, you might not want to be the kind of just jump into bed on the first date or two or three. You want to feel comfortable. You want to wait. You don't want to just share your body with everybody. Even if you're in a relationship with dude and then he starts trying to guilt trip and coerce you into doing some freak shit you don't want to, a threesome, some kind of weird toy stuff, dressing up in something, or furry, or he want to wear your clothes or something. I mean, people be coming with all kind of stuff. And then you see that side of him and you know that this not what you want. He's pressuring you to be something you don't want to be, do something you don't want to do. What do you do? How do you handle that? Has that ever happened to you? Remember, we're on the three responses still. I got a couple of more. He makes you feel like there's no way out of the relationship, so you stay because you just don't know what else to do. He set things up so there's nowhere for you to go. You don't have no money, right? Because you a stay at home mom, or you used your femininity to become a stay at home mom, and now he controls everything, and you don't have nowhere to go. And you don't have no money. You can't leave him. He's gonna threaten to take your kids. He's gonna do all kind of stuff. He's gonna tell you he's gonna do. But basically, you feel trapped. Has that ever happened? I mean, yeah, some of you do work up the courage later to figure your way up out of it, but during that, until that happens, you feel trapped. You feel like a prisoner in a relationship with somebody that's not really about you. Okay? Yes? Frequently, right? Once or twice. Or no, that's never happened. Think about it. And this is for each of your relationships where there were problems, not just one. And you might have to go back and listen to this later and think about it, for each relationship that you had that blew up in your face and see how many of these patterns were there representing this particular man. Y'all hit that like button while you here. Seeing a lot of people but they haven't pressed the like very much. I would appreciate that if you do. We got two more. They prevent you from doing the things that you want to do, like going to school, like spending time with your family, like spending time with your friends, like having a job. These are things that things that you're going to improve yourself or make you happy. They don't want you to do that. They prevent you from doing it by saying, no, you're my wife. You're my girlfriend. I don't want you to do that. Or they make it so uncomfortable. So, seeing like I know this woman who had, she was trying to go to school, right? And um, she had to do, homework and stuff, and her dude would always have something what she needed to do for him that would take her time away, so she couldn't do her homework. And I knew another woman who she had an opportunity to get a big promotion at work. That was gonna, unfortunately, the job was gonna need a lot of travel and stuff. But they didn't have any kids, so it didn't matter. And the night before she was rehearsing her presentation, the dude made her get into a huge argument, and kept her up arguing all night. So the next day when she had to do her presentation, she was exhausted. She looked a hot mess, and she'd been crying. So I mean, she just looked off. She looked wrecked, and then she didn't really get a chance to go over her presentation, right? So she flubbed and stumbled her way through it, and she didn't get the promotion because they didn't get the account. And he set that up on purpose because he did not want her to have a job where she was making more money than him and would have options by traveling and being around different people, all over the country with her promotion. He sabotaged her. And the woman with the schoolwork's the same thing because he felt like if she got graduated and went into nursing school the way that she wanted to, that she would find a man better than him who was a doctor, and then she would leave him. So he sabotaged her schooling. So that's what I'm saying. You guys got to think about this kind of stuff and think about when they behave like this, what are they trying to do? All these things I just read to you are things that men have done, have been reported in our advice column, like I have seen with my own two eyes or heard from my friends that men have done it. The list I could have kept going, but for brevity's sake, we're just going to stop here. I have one more though. They try to keep you from leaving after a fight, or they leave you somewhere after a fight to, quote, teach you a lesson. The worst case of this, I knew this dude, right, and his brother was a helicopter pilot, and they was down in LA, right, and he took this girl on a date, and then they went for a picnic. He flew up to this mountaintop and stuff, and it was all nice and scenic. They had a whole view of the valley and all the stuff, and then he wanted her to give him some, and she said no. Do you know he got in his helicopter and left her there on the top of a mountain in Southern California? There's like cougars and shit there, and the girl was there, no water, no food, nothing, and he left her there. Her father, well, Anyway, her father was an ex-cop, so they got the police helicopter to go up there and get her. And they did it, and then they filed charges on dude. So he got it for his little. But see, this is the thing, like if you try to find, and they want to pin you down, they want to lock you in a room, they want to grab your wrists and stuff and shake you to keep you from pushing past them to leave. All kind, they want to keep you in the car by driving like a maniac so you can't get out. All kind of crazy stuff has happened when you have a guy who wants to have that kind of control over you. So you have got to start recognizing when they have this kind of mentality early on in the dating process. Conversation should be about something that's important. You should not be talking about what movies you like and what's your favorite. I mean, those are things you might want to know later, but that's not what's important. That's not, when you decide to date somebody, you don't need to know what his favorite color is or where he went to high school and all this kind of stuff. That's just irrelevant. How does this motherfucker think? That's what you need to be thinking about. What kind of stuff does he think about and how does he conduct himself in the world? What kind of behavior patterns does he have with the people that are important to him? Do they respect him? Do his people even like him? Those are the kind of things that you need to be focusing on. Okay? Oh, what's my favorite color? Blue. Well, I like that movie too. Yeah, I like that rapper. I like this. I like the irrelevant. I never talk about those kind of things. I mean, unless we go into a jazz club or something where well, he did somebody playing the trumpet. Well, I don't really like trumpet. I like saxophone. Oh, you like saxophone? You never told me that. Yeah, I know, but because it wasn't important at the time, but now it is. Because I'm not going to sit there and hear no trumpet going on and on for no 2 hours. I'm not going to do that. Now I'll listen to David Sanborn or somebody, Najee, you know, Kirk Whalum. I'll listen to all the sax players. Candy Dulfer, all them old people. I'll listen to all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to listen to no trumpet. We're not going to do that. All right. Now, another thing that's, interesting that you should know, that you recognize from out the gate is that your mate is a liar. I hit on this earlier. You women are meeting these dudes on online dating, right? And they lie about their age, they lie about their height, they lie about their weight, they lie about their marital status. They lie. They're a liar. And they either get exposed because you break them, you expose them, or they finally admit it, and then you continue to deal with him after he has lied to you. You are dealing with a liar. You understand what time it is. Don't get mad later when he lies to you about some important stuff, right? Because you knew he was a liar and you decided to go forward anyway. Why'd you do that? He can't even tell you who he is or what his real situation is. He's a freaking liar. Leave him alone. Okay? Now this is when it becomes important because y'all be like, you need to pay attention when he starts talking. I'll tell you, I have a memory that's like my ass is Memorex, and they tell you a story, right? Okay, then a couple of weeks later, he gonna tell you the same story, but it's different. Then you hear the story, he telling a friend about the story, and the story now there's even a third version. Hmm. That means two of them versions is a lie. That's what that means. So now you dealing with a liar, right? Now, if he had friends that be telling you stuff, that's why a lot of dudes don't want you to meet their friends, right? You be like, I've never met his friends or his family. You know why? Because they don't want to get busted out. You think that he's just trying to he want to make sure that everything is stable before you guys move forward and this and that. But he's met people, your people, right? But you haven't met any of his. You know why? Because he don't want to get busted. He don't want them to say, well, who is this? What about your wife? Well, what about Sheila? Your girlfriend? Your baby mama? He done told you he don't have no kids. His friends like, well, how your sons doing? See, so they're scared. So they're gonna keep you away from their family and keep you away from their friends. I'm telling you, if you've been dealing with a dude for more than 3 months and you ain't met nobody, well, actually, I don't know. I even less than that for me now. I want to meet him in the first couple of weeks before I sleep with you. I want to meet your people. I want to see how you live. I'm going to your house. I'm going to your job. I'm gonna see where your work environment is. I'm gonna see how you living. And I'm gonna meet some of your friends and your relatives. You can't do that. We are not gonna move forward, son. It's just gonna be somebody in my rearview mirror that I used to talk to. And there's hundreds of them at this point. That's as far as they got conversation. And you are gonna be in that category. Because I want to know stuff. And we not playing that kind of game. Thank you. Oh, a fan. Look at that little dancing thing. That's cute. I want to meet who's. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Let's call you who. Girl, I don't know. I'm not gonna meet the relatives. I'm gonna meet somebody. Okay, some friends. We going out for a drink with your buddies and they girl. We gonna do something. I'm gonna meet some people that's in your circle. That's what I'm saying. Cause I want to see what kind of folks you hanging out with. I want to see what kind of sense they got, or if they have any at all. And you said, do they come in there smelling like weed? But that's your best friend. It's nighttime. He wears shades because his eyes is all red. His pupils are dilated. His girlfriend is with him, but she looks scared. Body language will tell you a lot. You got a woman sitting next to a man, and she every time he reaches in her direction, she jumps. That means he beating her ass. Okay, that's what that means. So you gotta meet people. You gotta meet people, and you got to check them out and see what kind of person you dealing with. And you want to be able to look at what's going on around them. And you can't always trust the family, so you don't want to ask them questions, but you do want to see them. See how they living and what their conversation is like. But I'm telling you, this is and these things I'm telling you now, these have evolved from my decades of being single. Because it's like I was single before I met my husband, and then I've been single since. I'm like single as an unmarried. That's not to say not in a relationship, but not I never got remarried. So it's like um these things, these lessons, these life lessons I'm sharing with you are things that have evolved from trial and error over those years, and things that I now know are good policies to follow. And that's why I'm sharing it with you, so you don't have to go through the trial and error I went through. You can just take what I'm doing and you can build on it. So you don't have to suffer that kind of stuff that I had to suffer through. You can take what I did, what I learned, and you can apply it to your life right here, and you can avoid all kinds. You can avoid years and years of bullshit by just slowing down. That's the main thing women need to do. Slow down. Pace yourself. Don't let a man pace the relationship. You do it. Okay? Now, and you got to think about when you're getting controlled and manipulated. It's not usually they usually don't tell you outright lies. What they do is tell you half the information. They tell you part of the story. All right, and they leave you to fill in the blanks. And so a lot of you do that. That's why a lot of you have that habit here. You will take a small thing that's said in a letter, right? This is I call your asses out on this shit all the time. This is a behavior pattern that you apply to relationship with men. It's gonna always get you in trouble. Okay, so you take a small thing that is a truth, and you in your mind turn it into something else. You don't listen to the words that were said. You take that and you fabricate this entire story, this whole fable, this whole land with all I mean, you just create all the stuff in your mind, none of which is in evidence. They use that kind of mentality against you when they're running game. I tell y'all all the time not to do that. Listen to what was said and stick to that. I'm trying to get you to understand how to run your life like an adult. But if you do that kind of stuff and they see that you're that kind of woman, they're gonna play you like a fucking violin. And you don't you don't pay attention to what's the fact. You create your own story in your own mind that's not based on nothing. And they will use that against you every single time. And so then you're gonna become like, well, I thought you said this. And he's gonna be like, I never said that, and it'll be true he didn't. You took one little thing that he said and you filled in all the blanks and went all the way around the world with it based on your imagination and the story you created in your mind. Stop doing that. Stop it. You listen to what he said. And then you ask him questions about what he said. You don't fill in the blanks in your imagination. He says, well, I went so and so. Yeah, I went to such and such a place. Oh, well, where's that at? What time did you get there? What time did you leave? Who else was there? Just do like they do you. Okay, you start asking questions, his story will fall apart soon enough because they ain't that good of liars. That's when you start asking pointed questions. Well, what y'all talk about? Well, I went to the movie. What'd you see? What was the plot of the movie? How long was the movie? Who starred in the movie? Is it a movie I might like to see too? You see what I mean? You ask details. You don't say, oh, well, I guess it was this, and you just fill it in and just fantasize away and let him get away with that. That's not how you handle yourself with a man. You ask him real shit, real questions. Y'all just be doing the most. Yes. Thank you, Rodlin. That's exactly what you do. You ask right then and there. Because, see, then a lot of times they start gaslighting you, right? Because you come back later and you might have forgot a detail or two. And the slick ones, because I've done this myself, they say, well, you said such and such. What? I didn't say that. You swear I was get Academy Award winning, Globe, Emmy, whatever they give them when you win some acting award. Because I don't know what you're talking about. And it's the same thing dudes do to you. "Ah, well, you said this and that. Did I? I don't think I said. I think you just, that was your spin on it. That's not what I said. I said blah, blah, blah. And then you gonna sit there and look at me because you know that's not what I said, but I'm gonna stick to my story. And you can't say that I didn't say it because you didn't record it. So I would go by my story and you gonna go by yours. That's why you got to jam them up right there on the spot. You don't wait and come back so they can play that game. Oh, I do that all the time. I should be telling y'all my secrets. I don't know what you're talking about. I was real bad at that at the job. I don't know. I never said that. I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. Go by what's in the email. That's what I said. But of course, what's in the email and what I may have said verbally are two different things. But we gonna go by what's in the email because Deb is slick like that. I'm not gonna be saying I'm gonna say some fucked up shit to you, but it's not gonna be no evidence of it. We gonna go by what's in the email. This is the evidence right here, and that's not what I said. See, this is what I said, and they what they gonna say. And dudes will run that same game on you. So that's what I'm saying. You got to jam up right now. Oh yeah, the slickness, thug life. But sometimes you just gotta be like that. It just no, it's not. But anyway, the point is, I'm trying to tell y'all how to recognize the game so that you don't fall prey to it. All right. Not don't worry about what I do. I'm telling you how to keep yourself from getting hit by that gang. All right, now, um, okay, let's talk about the bottom line here. Oh, you did? Shut up, who? You talking about wine, the blood of Christ? That's too funny. Um, that got me all distracted. Okay, let me get back focused. Okay, now let's talk about the bottom line in any relationship that you're in at any point in the relationship, whether it's your first conversation with dude, your first interaction with him on an online dating site, you just met him at a club, a bar, whatever. Okay, tune in to yourself. Tune in, ladies, because you go with your gut. Your gut is never gonna steer you wrong. You sitting there and you talking to this guy, you get this icky feeling, right? Where you don't really want to talk to him anymore. You want to get away from him. Do it. That is your inner woman warning bell ringing. That something is wrong. This ain't where you need to be. Pay attention to that. If you're ever in a situation and something tells you leave right now, head to your car and go. You know what? Because wherever that place is, you could always go back there another day. You don't have to be there right now. But something's telling you not to be there, get out. Get out. Pay attention. You in a situation, you talking to a guy, right, online, and he makes some kind of crack, and you notice that you feel confused. You feel, wounded in some respect. He made something that he says is a joke, but it's making you feel hurt. Cut it off with him right away. This is somebody who you just met this motherfucker and he's already trying to say some snarky stuff to hurt your feelings and try to break you down and hurt your ego, damage your self-esteem and self-confidence. They will start right away. The really truly abusive types don't wait. This thing is driving me crazy today, I swear. Um, don't wait. Don't give him chances. Don't think he didn't mean it. He meant every bit of it. All right. They want to tease you, right? They just say, "Oh, you can't take a joke." I was just kidding. I tell them all the time. It's like, well, if you trying to be a comedian, doesn't that mean people supposed to be laughing? Do you see me laughing? Well, you just can't take a joke. No, you can't tell them. That's what that is. Your sense of humor is all kinds of fucked up. You make sure you keep your day job. Don't ever try to get on the stage and be a comedian because you will fail. You will fail. Stuff like that. So, yeah, honey, I'm telling you, your best friends in this era, ladies, is the block and delete buttons. Block and delete on your phone, on your computer, on your tablets, on your social media pages, all of those things. Block and delete, get rid of them. And don't worry about ghosting them and thinking, oh, it's not polite and all this kind of shit. You don't owe him nothing, especially if he's going to be talking to you all kind of crazy. Okay? He wasn't worried about your feelings, so why are you worried about his? Stop it. Somebody says something to you and you feel in any way hurt, injured, wounded, confused, ashamed, embarrassed, any of that kind of stuff, because they try to get you, manipulate your mind and feelings by shaming you, humiliating you, doing these negative things, what they call it, negging you, all this kind of stuff. Any of that goes down. He says anything like that to you, get rid of him immediately. No further confrontation, no further contact. You don't think about him. You don't text him. You don't call him. You don't apologize. You give no excuses and no fucks. Get rid of him. All he's going to do is break you down and bring you down. And he's showing you who he is from day one. And so many of you just you ignore it. You don't understand what you're seeing or hearing. You're not supposed to feel like that when you're talking to somebody who claims to be interested in you romantically. He's supposed to be building you up and making you feel better, making you happy to see him and happy to hear from him, making you look forward to being around him, not sitting there feeling confused and sorry for yourself and hurt and injured and wounded. But you want to bury those feelings and you then will continue with him. When he going up the ante, he's just going to keep on hurting you. And then pretty soon it escalates to physical violence. Get rid of him. Any dude who treats you like that and talks to you like that and think that's appropriate behavior, an appropriate way to address a young lady, get rid of his ass. He's stupid. Yeah, they hate themselves and they're going to make sure you hate yourself too. But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't even matter to me because once they start with that kind of conversation, they just get that one time. I am the one time queen. You get exactly one time to talk to me crazy. Once. And then we're done, sir. We're done here. So let's talk about that, okay? A lot of you, it's as far as the how you feel thing goes, there's another aspect. Okay, there's that part. But then there's also the part like where you're scared to say things, you're scared to do things because you're concerned about how he's gonna take it, what he's gonna think, what he's gonna feel. A lot of you women go through life worrying so much about what other people think and feel that you ignore what you think and feel. And you cannot be in a relationship like that where you're concerned about what he thinks. Who gives a shit? You worry about yourself. Okay? And he's got something where he want to be talking to you all kind of crazy, or you feel like you got to walk on eggshells because how he might take it, or his feelings might be hurt if you be honest with him. I don't care, and you shouldn't either. Was he concerned about your feelings when he was busy mouthing off saying all the crazy stuff to you? Not in the least. So that's why you fire back and you don't worry about it. Okay, because if you good enough to give it out, your ass better be tough enough to take it, because I'm ready to unload on you with both barrels. You're not gonna talk to me crazy like that. You're not gonna get away with that. And I'm telling you, it's you guys are just too nice. You just more worried. I didn't want to hurt his feelings. Why not? He sure wasn't worried about not hurting yours, right? Some of you, you don't want to you feel responsible for how he feels. Well, if I tell him this and that, it's gonna hurt. He's gonna be sad. Okay, okay, and he's an adult. He's a big boy. He can handle his feelings. You don't need to worry about him like he's two. Okay, you're gonna tell him about himself, and he better be able to handle it. Because you know what? My grandfather used to say, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. So you do some fucked up shit and they're not digging your ass over it, guess what? You better be able to handle it because otherwise it means you shouldn't have done what you did. If you don't want to hear my mouth or you don't want me to leave you, either one, you shouldn't have done it then. You know, you're an adult. You're supposed to be thinking about that kind of stuff. All actions have repercussions. All actions will have reactions from other people. Okay, you have an action where you don't show up at work. Guess what? Your boss's reaction is gonna be you gonna be fired. Your action is I'm gonna speed and cut through traffic on the street on the highway. Well, then the reaction is gonna be the highway patrol or the cops is gonna pull you over and give you a ticket. And if your shit is out of order, you going to jail. You see what I mean? Every action as an adult has a responsible reaction by somebody else who's got more power and authority than you do. So you got a man who's made a decision to do some fucked up stuff. Well, then, dude, you better expect a really some hardcore response because that's what's coming. But you guys want to put on the brakes because you be worried about how he's gonna feel, and you don't be worried about yourself sitting over there crying, breaking out in rashes and hair falling out and all kind of stuff going on. I wish I would. Some of you, you got these sorry ass trifling pieces of shit as men, and you sit around and make excuses for them to your family and friends. Oh well, this and that, blah blah blah. And you trying to cover for him. Why are you doing that? That's a grown man. He made a decision to do these jacked up things. Then you don't have any reason not to explain it if it's true. They'd be like, well, I saw so and so at the club last night. He had two women hanging over him, says your auntie says to you. I was there with your Uncle Joe and we saw him over there, and we went and talked to him and stuff, and then, he had some excuse, blah blah blah. And you just be like, oh yeah, well, yeah, and you make an excuse for why he was there with two bras, get drunk and women hanging all over him. Instead of saying, yeah, he's a cheating lying dog. I'm about to get a divorce. That would be the truth. But you don't want to say that because you don't want to embarrass him. I will buy a billboard to get a plane to make smoke letters up in the air to embarrass him and tell everybody about how he was. I don't care. So yeah, this dude, I had a boyfriend. Oh, at school, at college, he did some trifling stuff. You know what I did? I went on the copy machine and I made posters, little flyers to talk about how trifling he was, and put them all over the campus with his picture on it and everything. So everybody knew that he was a hoe and a trifling piece of shit. I didn't give a fuck. And so he was like, you embarrassed me. I'm like, well, maybe you should have done what you did and we wouldn't have had that problem. That was all on you. But you did that. And then I did what I did in response. So your actions caused my reaction. That was all on you, son. And then we broke up, of course, but because he was embarrassed. He didn't live that down the rest of the time he was in college. Everybody talked about him, called him poster boy and all. Trifling piece of shit. But that's how I do. I'm not gonna get mad. I'm gonna get even. I'm going to humiliate you to no end. Whatever you do to me, I'm gonna up the ante and do it back tenfold. Just be ready. But and I'm never going to cover for them. I'm never gonna do that. Yeah, I come up with some creative ways to fuck over people. But it was very nonviolent, but he was ridiculed everybody on campus. Because I must have made 100, 200 flyers. I put them everywhere. Student union, out on the grass, tagged them to the trees, put them on the bulletin boards in the different, the different, they had bulletin boards you could put up notices for, renters and stuff you want to buy and sell and all this kind of stuff. Oh, I just put those things everywhere. Everywhere with his face all on them. Sure did. And then I felt fine about it afterwards because I was hot. I'm telling you, I was mad. But after that, I was happy. I'm skipping because I, got out my frustrations. Okay, sometimes some of you, if the dude does something, somehow you believe it's your fault. Like in this situation, if a dude cheats, somehow you gonna take it to be something that you did wrong. And a lot of them will play that game with you. They're gonna flip it back. Well, if you had done this and that, if you had did this and that, blah 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 blah. Yes, I'm with you, Flo Flo. They be lying like a dog. You know what? They want to tell you that stuff like, oh, you should be the bigger person. Fuck the bigger person. You know what the bigger person is? You know how Kool-Aid busts through the wall and that's me. I'll be that bigger person. I'm gonna destroy some shit. But other than that, I don't want to be the bigger person. I want to be the petty person. I want to be the person who gets revenge. If you have an option to choose a way to do something, always choose petty. Petty is best. And you have me to co-sign for that. Always choose petty. Petty, 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 petty is the best way. And when you be old and you be in your deathbed and stuff, you can regale your young relatives with all the stories of all the petty things that you did to people that have them cracking up. That's what you can do. Yes, I'm telling you, petty. Petty is just beautiful. Or something that you avoid things that cause conflict or just gonna make you mad. Mm-mm. Especially in the early days, you need to do. My daddy used to say this: you need to do or say something that's gonna piss him off, because you want to see how he acts when he gets mad. Does he start calling you names, throwing shit, get violent, threaten you? You need to know this before you get seriously involved with the guy, so you can cut him loose. You want to, you feel like your partner's just never ever happy with anything that you do. You're always striving to please him, jumping around, jumping through hoops, going through all kind of changes. I'm not doing shit. I'm gonna sit on the couch and cross my legs, and that's all you're getting out of me, sir. That's it. You want something else? I don't know what to tell you. You better go find it because it's not here. You always do what your man wants you to do instead of what you want to do, right? Are you staying with him because you afraid of what he might do if you break up? Now, there could be a streak of, where he has threatened violence, but that's usually not it. Most of the time, they threaten to kill themselves or something, and that's what you're afraid of. Oh, I don't want to. He said he's going to hurt himself. What kind of flowers you want? No, as a matter of fact, no, never mind. I'm not going to waste flowers on you. I might send you a picture of some flowers, though. That's about it. That's all you're going to get. So, you want to look at all your relationships around this man that you just started. Now, if your family and friends, people that know and love you, are concerned about the guy, and I'm not talking about the letter we had like on Tuesday where they were telling lies on dude to try to get him to break up. I'm not talking about that. They went too far. I'm talking about they raised some legitimate concerns. They have some legitimate questions about something that's concerning this guy. And instead of you listening, you get defensive and you want to make it seem like there's something wrong with them. Remember, these are people who have loved you and taken care of you and been there for you for 20, 30 years. This fool just came last week. But you want to put him above what their concerns are? You should at least listen and give them some serious thought. And especially if they have some, stuff to back up their opinions, stuff they've seen, stuff they've heard, stuff you've told them that doesn't quite sit right. These are your elders. They got more experience in life than you do. Listen. Stop thinking you know every damn thing. Your ass has still got milk breath. You don't know shit. But you want to dismiss what they have to say because, but I love him though. I love him. All right, now, I don't want to talk about all this. I think I'm going to save this for another show. Let's talk right now. We're going to save that. We're going to go into my list. We're going to go into my list of relationship issues, common relationship issues that make women unhappy and that have long term ramifications. Remember at the top of the show, I said the number one thing that can either make your life pure bliss or drag you to the depths of hell and despair is the man that you choose. The man that you choose to date, the man that you choose to live with, the man that you choose to marry, the man that you choose to have the father your children. A mistake in any of those four areas will fuck you up. Okay, so you have got to start thinking about this a lot more seriously, giving this a lot more thought, and being a lot more pragmatic and unemotional about who you choose. If he passes the inspection, then you can get emotional about him because then it's safe to do so. You haven't done this kind of vetting of the guy, you have any of these kind of issues going on in your relationship, you have a problem. All right, so let's go. Oh, I should have put numbers instead of bullet points. Oh no, I'm going to lose track. All right, well, let's just go. Ball number one. He doesn't make time for you, right? He always hanging out with his friends. He playing video games. He's working, which, sometimes they don't have to work as much as they do. They want to stay at work. or he's focusing on his hobbies, or he's watching TV, or he's doing whatever he's doing. But basically, what he's doing is leaving you alone to handle the household, the responsibilities of the children, the responsibilities of the bills, the responsibilities of household upkeep and maintenance, the responsibility of his parents, birthday presents and stuff for kids, shopping for Christmas gifts for all the whole family. He basically leaves you to do everything all by yourself, and he basically has checked out. He's checked out unless it's time for some booty. Then of course he all in then. But every other thing that happens, you're feeling pretty abandoned and pretty by yourself, and he just not really making time for you at all. You're a vague afterthought that he fits in maybe. So you talking about the ultimate taken for granted thing, and you just feel lonely and sad and depressed and hungry for affection and acknowledgement by the man that that's supposed to be loving you, and it doesn't happen. And so that is a sign. These are things, in case you just forgot, you didn't hear what I said. The list I'm reading now is the common relationship issues that will make you unhappy and that have long term ramifications for your mental, emotional, and sometimes physical health. Okay, so pay attention to this. Why you think so many women are on Prozac and all these different antidepressants? Overweight, having hypertension, high what you call it, heart disease and stuff. 90% of it is because the man they choose is driving them crazy. He ain't doing shit to make you happy. He's making you miserable and he's hurting you. Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay, so that was the first one. They don't make no time for you. Number two, they're emotionally unavailable and emotionally distant. Like you want to have intimate conversations. You want to sit on the couch and hold hands. You want to play footsie under the table. You want to smile and coo and goo at each other. You want to just stand around kissing and rubbing on each other for no reason, no real agenda. Just some sign of affection between the two of you. That never happens in your relationship. Never. The only time he does anything remotely like that is when he trying to get some tail. Okay, and you are just so unhappy. You just so hungry for that kind of um, closeness. Hold on, I'm putting numbers by these bullets because I am going to lose track real quick. I don't know why I put bullets instead of numbers, but you guys bear with me while I do this right quick because I don't want to screw this up and repeat myself. So, see, that's number 19. Wow, I was quite prolific in my talking here. All right. I got 29 things. That was number one. Number two. Number three, he's possessive and controlling, so you always do what he wants. You don't want to hear his mouth, right? Or he hit you with that, well, that my wife this, my wife that, my woman this. That's not right for my wife to do. I'm not gonna have my wife doing that. He don't want you to go nowhere without him. He wants to tell you what to do all the time. And then you do it because, as most of you say, it's easier. But see, they start that stuff early. Like I pointed out about the dude on our second or third date. Gonna be trying to control who I'm talking to on my damn phone. That's my phone. I pay all the bills in this bitch. Nothing up in here is under your jurisdiction, son. And even if it was, it still would. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't even care about that part, but I still just had to tell him. This is all me. Now nothing here got to do with you. You don't run shit here. So, you got that kind of dude gonna try to tell you stuff like that, and you be all listening to it and stuff and doing what he says. Please, I'm gonna be contrary just because it's Sunday. Number four, he's verbally abusive and calls you horrible names. You a dummy, you a fat blimp, you ugly, stupid, you this and that, Gila monster, you hit a wall, you say, these dudes will do this. This even happens online, you know. You feminist. That's one of their favorite things. They think that's a slur. I mean, like, thank you. You should be one too. But they don't want to call you names. They feel like if they're calling you names, it's gonna, break you down. Their goal is to control you by any means necessary. They're gonna hurt you, break you down, shatter your self-confidence. That's their goal. And a lot of them will go after a woman who's already very happy and self-assured. And then you become like a feather on their cap once they can snap you into. They want to break you down. And it makes them feel positively defined that they were able to hurt you that bad and make you into nothing. So once they do that and you allow them that space into your head where they do that because they start talking to you like that and it actually impacts you, oh, they just love it. They love it. They get like an extra 20 points, bonus points for that. Number 6. Oh no, this is number 5. He's emotionally abusive and he hurts your feelings by mocking you. So you say, "Oh, so this was so good. Oh, this was so good. Oh, I'm gonna get a raise at work today. I'm gonna get a raise." Or you do something, and he's gonna act it out in front of his friends just to tease you, or something, especially if something's that's bad. He's gonna reenact it and taunt you and tease you about it and stuff, and make you, so that you relive that pain over and over and over again. Just stupid. This is the kind of stuff make you just want to shoot him. Number 6, you have vastly different sexual interests or desire levels. Now, a lot of times you get in a relationship and one of you want, I mean, it's everybody's like a bunny rabbit at first, but I mean, it's natural for that to die down. But if you have someone who's very, his drive is higher than yours, or it could be yours is higher than his, but whatever it is, it's out of sync. Well, whichever way it is, where whoever wants more is going to cause problems for the other partner. And so you're out of sync. It's going to make you very miserable and unhappy to feel either like you're not getting enough, you're not satisfied, or they always on you and you just feel pressured and like that's all they want and it's just not a fun time for you. So either way, if you notice something like that, don't pretend to want more than you do and don't pretend like you're happy with what you're getting. Leave. Go and find someone else. You're going to be in a long term relationship. You guys got to be on the same page with that. Otherwise, it's never going to work. You're going to be miserable. And it usually ends up with somebody cheating because their needs aren't getting met. They might, really care about their partner, but you always horny or you always feeling like, you never getting enough. That's an instant setup for, an extra curricular, some kind of situation like that. Number 7, he holds you back from success and achieving your dreams. I told you about that. They want you to go to school. They don't want you to succeed at work. They don't want you to do something that's going to benefit you in some way. Uh oh. Okay. My throat is getting dry. Talking too much. Okay. He's a narcissist. He thinks he's the most important person in the world. And we've talked about all the different narc games that they play. If you're unsure about that, you aren't sure what kind of things will get run down in a narcissist relationship, look at the playlist on narcissists. And you'll see the 25 stories from shared by women plus the videos that I did in the series talking about gaslighting and some other issues that narcs do. He cheats if you're unmarried, or he cheats on you, infidelity, if you're married. The first time that happens, you're supposed to be out. What happens if you know he cheated and you stay because he's going to be writing his letter? He's cheated on me the whole 4 years of our relationship. Why was you still there to keep getting cheated on? What's wrong with you? And it's hurting you. It's like a knife in your heart every time, and you just stay there. What's really going on? Why do you not like yourself that much? Okay, and number 10, he's constantly angry. He's just raging about something all the time. Or he's bitter about the past and he complains about the same shit over and over and over and over again. Oh my God, it's like, dude, go get on somebody's couch. Some shrink's couch and work that out because I'm not really trying to be bothered with hearing about your drama or hearing you go on and being bitter about some shit from the past. I don't want to hear that. I'm living in 2021. Your mind is still in 1992, worrying about some shit that happened like ancient times ago. Mm-mm. He plays mind games and he leaves you feeling insecure and unstable. This might be something that you noticed right off the bat, but you ignored it, right? Number 11, number 12, he threatens you, your children, your property, or your pets with harm if you don't do what he wants. A lot of times, they couch that as a joke, right? In the early times. Well, if you ever did this and that, I would do this and that. And he's saying that's a test. The first time he says it, he's trying to see gauge your reaction to it. And, you that want to laugh, and act like it's funny. It's a joke. You're not taking him seriously. Why are you doing that? He's going to say something like that. That's a test. In order for you to pass it, you have to say, well, yeah, I can't stop you from doing it, but you better be prepared for what repercussions happen. Because, like I told you, every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. For every choice you make, there's going to be repercussions for it. Are you prepared to deal with that? Now, that's not to say you're going to do anything to him, because it might not be you. Might be the law, might be your relatives, might be karma. Who knows? But whatever you do, you're gonna pay for it eventually. So, and eventually might be tomorrow, might be right now, might be next week. You just never know. But yeah, when they start talking that kind of shit, I'd be like, oh, is that what we doing? Yeah, okay, do that and watch what happens to you. Or worse yet, watch what happens to your mama, because I know where you live, where the bitch lives. I know where your baby mama lives, and I know where all your kids go to school. So you talk that shit if you want to. Don't say shit when people in your family end up dead. Okay? So that's what we doing. Because I'm not above being going to prison. If that's gonna help my situation and keep you in check, I'll do that. So these dudes, they want to talk all this smack and try to scare you and stuff. But you got to scare them back. I know where your kids go to school. I will fuck them little motherfuckers up. And if I don't do it myself, I could pay somebody to do it. Is that what you want? And then they get nervous because then you talking their game, right? They want to try to threaten you. I'm gonna threaten you right back. And I'm not gonna just threaten you. I'm gonna threaten somebody in your family, somebody that you care about really dearly, like your mama, your kids. That's who I'm gonna get. So you think about that. You threaten my dog or my kids or something if you want to. So, you might have number 13 where he only want to talk about his problems and his feelings. As soon as you try to talk about yours, he want to shut you down or change the subject back to himself. So essentially, you never get to talk about your feelings in a relationship. You never feel heard. You never have any kind of, this back and forth and support, emotional support that you're in a relationship to get. You don't get that. Everything's one-sided. You give it to him all the time, and he's just taking. Okay, and this starts early because you talking to that getting to know you phase, and all he wants to do is talk about himself. That's a sign that he's a narcissist. And that's a sign that any situation that you try to embark on with this dude is going to blow up in your face. You don't do that because a normal person, there's an exchange of information. There's you're getting to know each other, right? Each other. And but everything's about him. Yeah, see, that's me, Satin Doll. You might be a level 50, but I'm going to go to 250 real quick. I can't with these dudes. I just cannot. Okay, number 14. He never compromises. It's always his way. Or he gonna pout and sulk and slam out the door, and he's gonna be gone for a day or two because he's mad. And he's anyway, whatever he does, he's gonna punish you in some kind of way for not, letting him do what he wants to do or giving him what he wants. You're gonna pay for it, and you know this. Number 16. He never says thank you. He takes everything that you do for him for granted. He might grunt if he even does that. Okay, so you constantly been jumping around trying to please him, but he's never trying to please you. Number 17, he constantly wants you to tell him that you love him. These kind of dudes drive me crazy. Do you love me? Do you love me? You love me? I love you. You didn't tell me that you love me. Because I don't. You get on my fucking nerves. I'm just like, who gonna be telling somebody I love you 15 times a day? Get out of here, insecure fucker. Just that gets on my nerves. But, there are guys that do that. And you got guys that do that in the early stages. You know what you need to do. Leave him alone. He's going to drive you crazy. It is insecurities and neediness. Ugh. Just thinking about it makes me itch. Number 18, he makes you feel drained or sad or confused after you spend time with him. Have you been in a relationship like that? You look forward to it until it's actually happening. And then you realize that he's shit. Everything out of his mouth is a complaint, something negative, some downer thing. Nothing makes him happy. He always bitching about something. He's never satisfied with anything. And so by the time you leave his presence, you feel positively exhausted, positively drained. It's just terrible. Terrible. Even the bedroom activity don't leave you feeling good. It's just a bad situation. It's just like, why are you in this relationship? Number 19, he guilt trips you when you don't do what he wants you to do. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Well, my other women, this, or, I don't understand why you can't be, the woman. You don't show me that you love me. If you really love me, you would do this and that and blah, blah, blah. I don't love you now. I barely tolerate you. You get on my fucking nerves. Everything about you gets on my nerves. All you do is whine and piss and pew like a big ass baby. Who you think wants to be intimate with you and that's how you act? Everything out of your mouth is a complaint. You sound like a bitch. I'm not trying to hear that. Yeah, that drain, girl. Leave there, that drain. I had dated a guy like that. That's how I know from first-hand experience. That feeling when I got ready to leave him, I was like, oh my God. I was all happy at first. And then now that I'm leaving, I'm like glad to be leaving. I felt better leaving. When I got in my car, I felt absolute bliss. That's what I knew. I knew that relationship was over. I didn't even like break up with him on something. I just sent him a text and told him I'm not going to see you no more. Because I was just like, oh my God, this is terrible. You dumping old boy after church today, Jamie? Okay, number 20, you feel like you're losing your sense of identity. You don't know who you are anymore. This is what happens when they taunt you and put you down, and, like your hobbies and interests, your friends, the stuff that you like, everything about you, they tell you how it's not good enough. It should be something else. Why don't you this? Oh, I don't like that. I mean, so you're constantly trying to please him, right? Which is normal. I mean, most women, people, in a relationship, you want your partner to be happy with you. Of course you do. But there's a fine line when you start giving up who and what you are and the stuff that brings you joy and happiness for that person. Then that's crossing the line. You don't do that. Like maybe if you used to working out, I don't know, 6 days a week, you get up and jump up and go to the gym. And then you decide, okay, well, I'm going to start taking the weekends off so I can lounge around and we can have brunch together and go for walks or go to the park and rock with the dogs or something. You make a compromise. Okay, that's fine. That should work. You need more rest anyway. You should be working out 6 days a week anyway. But if the stuff that you like, you have to give everything up in order to please this person and keep them around and keep them quiet. That's you doing too much. Number 21, you feel used and you wonder if he would still be with you if it wasn't for something about you that he feels is like a trophy, like your looks, your youth, your body, your type of job. Like say, you're a lawyer or a politician, you're a doctor or something, you some high level, some prestigious something. Yes, the woman I'm with, she's a doctor, this and that. So he's getting some kind of pub and goodwill from other people and acknowledgement and recognition for what you are. Pretty, young, smart, professional, something. He's getting that from you. Rich. I mean, it could be something like that. And you feel like if it wasn't for that thing, he probably wouldn't be with me. He's there because that stuff is convenient for him. Number 22, you sacrifice everything so his dreams and desires are met while yours go up in smoke. So you decide, well, I'm not going to go to school. I'm going to work and put him through school, and then I'll just wait on my dreams. Why can't both of y'all go to school? Why can't you support each other? Why did you have to support him in school? I'm not doing that. Number 23, he approaches relationships from the point of his ego. See? So since he's the man, he feels like he deserves all the power, all the kudos, all the acknowledgement, all the control, and everything must always be his way. Plus, he has to always be right. Okay, his ego means he has to always be right. You can't ever be right because then that would make him wrong. You see what I mean? So he's looking at the relationship through the lens of his ego. and it's all about him and all about making him feel good. But I know kind like that where they instantly try to argue you down and use some kind of twisted logic to they can try to make your opinion be the wrong one or what you're saying as a fact is the wrong one. I had this guy who even knew, okay, I build websites. Okay, I was working for .com. That's what we did, built websites. And this fool is gonna come trying to tell me about some website stuff. And I'm looking at him. I said, you don't know what you're talking about, right? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because this and that and blah blah blah. So I guess because he read something on some article or something, he was a fucking expert now. Let alone somebody who was doing the work for 3 years. He know more about it than me. So he's right and I'm wrong. I'm like, oh no, I can't deal with you. I can't with you. I cannot with you. This is over. See, that's what I mean. It's like the string of dudes that I had 1 or 2 dates with you girls just don't know. It's miles long because I go out with them. I mean, I have to show you a picture of me when I was younger. I was very cute. And and I don't want anybody saying, yeah, but what happened? I already know that trick. But I'm just saying, so I was like, I always had a lot of dates. And I was very athletic. So, I had a nice body and everything. And so I always had a lot of dates. And I mean, sometimes I have 2 or 3 dates in one day. And just like next, 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 next. Wasn't really feeling any of them. Um, the next one. He often or constantly compares you to past relationships, other women, his mother, his sisters, his, exes, whatever. And he wants you to be like them. You don't measure up when he compares you to other people. So you feel bad. It's the first time he says anything about comparing you. Well, my ex is this and that, or you should. You don't tell me nothing. You don't compare me to no bitch. Okay, we're not gonna do that. Number 25, he has this patriarchal mindset about women. And he feels entitled to women's bodies and energy and time. And they, condone violence against women to keep women in their place. And, he doesn't see any problem with sexual harassment. And many of these guys, like I said earlier, they use religion to shore up their treatment of women and justify how they talk to and treat women. These are the kind of stuff the dudes you want to get rid of them immediately, if not sooner. Soon as any of that kind of stuff comes out of his mouth, you're done. Okay? Don't do that. And I know some of you like, well, I'm not a what they call it? I'm not a feminist. They say I'm not a feminist. You should stop saying that. You think that's good brownie points you gonna get brownie points from clowns from that? You know what they're gonna see? They're gonna understand that you're a stupid woman, that you don't even understand how you need to be advocating for yourself and women and your daughters and your granddaughters and nieces and stuff. You instead promote men over women. That's what you say every time. That's the message that you're sending men when you say that. Well, I'm not a feminist. You're stupid. Don't say nothing then. Just shut up. But you sit up there and say, well, basically, I'm going to make a man more important than I make myself and those who look like me. We don't deserve to have rights and be treated equally, because that's what you're saying when you say I'm not a feminist. That I'm just a second class piece of shit compared to you. Please love me. That's what you're saying. That's just the dumbest thing ever. Then let's move on to this one, number 26. You make excuses for his behavior and his actions towards you. You try to justify it. Well, he only hit me because, well, he only said that to me because, well, I am kind of stupid sometimes, you say. Why do you say that about yourself? Why do give him excuses for mistreating and abusing you like that? Please stop doing that. And the very first time he does it, I mean, you check him if you want to. Personally, I've learned that the fact that he said that, that's who he is. So even if you check him and tell him don't talk to me like that ever again, he's gonna do it because that's who he is. So I don't waste time checking him anymore. I just get rid of him. I ghost him or I just tell him, this ain't gonna work. But there's a lot of you, well, I talked to him about it several times. And, I try to get him to explain, how can I make him understand? He ain't trying to understand. He want to do what he want to do. The one who don't understand is you. That this is who he is. Okay? Number 27, You hide things from him. You hide things about him, rather, from your friends and your family because you know he's a loser. You know he's ratchet. You know he ain't about shit. So they ask you, well, how's dude doing? Where he working at now? How's this? How's that? What's he doing? He helping you around the house and this and that, which is things that people are concerned about you would want to know. And you lie to cover for him. You hide it. Number 28, he's more concerned about what other people, what other people think. So he plays to his relatives, he plays to his friends. He's not about your relationship, he's not about you. He's about getting their acknowledgement and feeling like he's one of the good old boy network. He's one of the pack. That's more important to him than carving out his path as a man, standing on his own 2 feet and doing what he knows he needs to do. That's the right thing. This comes a lot, like you see this online, like you have a guy who treats his woman well, he respects women. The other dudes, the packs, will, you a sip, you a this and that. Okay, a dude who's strong and confident in himself and say, nigga, please, you wish you had some fine ass like I got. Get out of here. Okay. That's what he would say. I like, ain't nobody paying. You ain't paying me, niggas. Bye. Okay, but the one whose mind is weak, he's going to listen to those guys because he wants to be acknowledged by those losers. So he's going to change his thinking and his behavior towards the woman that he cares about and he loves, and he's going to start acting like them because he wants their approval. If you have a guy like that who shows any kind of concern more about what those idiot pack people think and say and do than he does what he knows is the right thing, what he knows is going to benefit you in your relationship, get rid of him because he's stupid. He's a child. He's a follower. And you can't have a man leading your household who's a follower. That's not gonna work, ladies. And you got that kind of dude. He's worried about what other men think about him and how his image with them that he is on how you think about him, for the kind of way that your family thinks about him, the way that his bosses think about him, the way that the community thinks about him. He's more concerned about those group of knucklehead losers and fitting in with those bottom feeding stupid fools than he is on elevating himself and being a man that everybody around him can be proud of and use an example of manhood. He's not thinking about that. He's thinking about getting their approval. You got that kind of loser in your life, you better get rid of him real quick. He gonna drag you and your kids down. Okay, because he's too focused on the wrong thing. And then they get like that, I'd be like, okay, are you gay? I mean, nothing against gay people, but if that's your thing, at least admit it. Come out the closet. Don't be trying to be in a relationship with a woman pretending like you love and admire and respect her and want to be with her when you too busy falling behind some dudes and kissing up to them. Okay, you on the different side of the fence, home skillet. That's what I'm just saying. You got some dudes who's worried more about what other dudes think than he's worried about his woman. That's a bad sign. And you got that kind of dude, you better understand what time it is. And then my final one on my long ass list, because this was a long show. You are losing touch with your family and friends. You're kind of putting them in a just separating yourself from them, not seeing them as much as you would want to, or not talking to them as much as you would want to because of him. He doesn't like them, or you spend too much time with them. You don't spend enough time with me. Why do you need them when you have me? It's no, our relationship is supposed to be about us. So basically what he's doing is he's making it be a us against them thing. So you have to choose him and only be with him. He's your sole source of anything. And he cuts off, you start cutting and curtailing your relationships with other people that bring you joy, that care about you and love you. You cut ties with them or reduce ties with them to satisfy him. If you got a dude like that, get rid of him. Okay? You better get rid of him because he's going to have you in some kind of abusive nonsense situation where you feel so lonely. So you just remember that. Remember what I said. I'm going to read you my note about what a healthy relationship is again. A healthy relationship is characterized by respect, number one, respect, trust, honesty, great communication, and that means full disclosure, not this half, story stuff. Full disclosure and open and honest communication. and the ability for each one of you to maintain your dignity and who and what you are as a person. That includes the things that bring you joy, that includes the people that bring you joy, and the hobbies and interests that bring you joy. Okay, there's none of this put down or you got to give that up for me and all this kind of stuff. Okay, you got somebody lying to you, you got somebody corner cutting, cheating, maintaining relationships with other people behind your back, hiding his phone, texting in the dark, disappear. You don't know where he is. He don't tell you nothing. He gives you the short answers, the other stuff. It leaves you feeling insecure and just doubtful and distrusting and wondering where the relationship stands, and you're hurt, you're crying, you're confused. Any of those kind of things at all, you better sit back and re-examine this situation. And they always give you signs you know they always give you the signs early on that this is how they are. Unfortunately, so many of you, though, you don't trust yourself, you doubt yourself, you question yourself, you listen to him more than you listen to yourself about yourself, which I don't understand that at all, but that's what happens. And so you end up in a situation where you're in a very negative relationship that's hurting you over the long term, and you're stuck there. All right. Yeah. She say hiding in the bathroom and it doesn't smell. Uh, I'm just saying these are all signs. Like they can't hide who they can hide. They can lie with words. Men are good lying with words. They will have you dizzy with words. But one thing they cannot hide is their actions. Those of you ladies have got to get smarter about watching what they do and recognizing that what they're doing is some bullshit. And it bodes really poorly for a committed relationship. Do not give a man your heart. Do not give a man your body unless he's giving you what you want. And everything on this list here better be happening. You don't settle for a liar. You don't settle for a cheater. You don't settle for somebody who leaves all the burden for everything on you while you suffer and he's just sitting there on the couch playing video games. You working two jobs and all this kind of stuff. What's wrong with you? You don't have a man that you cooking and you cleaning, you doing all the stuff. He won't even take out the trash. He won't do nothing. You got to ask him to do something. He watches his kids. He calls it babysitting. Stuff like that. This is the mentality that you better start thinking about. And you got a man who tells you that he's not about feminism and he doesn't think, women need to stay in their place and, women aren't like they used to be and all this kind of stuff. You better look at him because this is 2021. Tell him to look at the fucking calendar. Them olden days is over, son. You look at these guys going to foreign countries and stuff to try to get them a woman who's raised in the bushland or something, who's illiterate and don't know nothing, so they can live some kind of fantasy like they're some kind of fiefdom or something, where he's lording over everybody. You got a man who's talking like that? Get rid of him. These are all guys who have very poor. There's something wrong with them. And you get in a relationship with a man like that, there will soon be something wrong with you. All the joy that you have, the light, bouncy smep, your bright, happy smile, your beautiful skin, your beautiful hair, your long, thick nails, the very exuberance that you have as a woman, as a young woman going through the world with her life and head is full of dreams and promise and possibilities. They're going to steal all of that away. And it makes them feel good if they're a sociopath to do that to you. Okay, but you guys have got to get smarter about recognizing the signs that a man is sick, twisted, and fucked up, and you leave him alone. Okay, there's a lot of decent men out here. They're quiet though. You might not see them all the time, and you got to learn to figure out who's who and what's what. He might not look the way that you thought he was gonna look. He might be a different race than what you thought he was gonna be. He might be a different religion than yours. Is your mind open to the fact that you're picking a man for how he makes you feel about yourself and what he brings to your world, not all that superficial stuff? I mean, like I said, you want him to be intelligent, but does that mean he needs to have a master's degree? No, that means he needs to be a smart guy. A lot of guys are self-educated. They read more than the ones who have the degree. They know more than the ones who have a degree, but they don't have a piece of paper. But does that mean that you can't have intelligent, stimulating conversations with him and that whatever questions you go to him, he can't give you an answer? So you got to kind of, adjust your selection criteria to where it brings more men in, but you're very stringent about who gets to stay. Let me put it that way. Okay, you broaden your horizons so that you get exposed to more guys and you let them, see you and hear you. But your criteria for who gets to stay is very, very stringent. And the first time is something stupid, there you're done and you're out. Don't be writing me telling me, well, I listened to your lecture and I heard what you said, and I didn't want to, do it. And some he told me I saw some signs, but I thought he would change, but I thought it would be different, but he promised me that he would change, but I thought it would be different after we got married. But I thought it would be better after we moved in together. But I thought that after we had a baby that he would be more mature, he would grow up. Don't write me saying that, because I have given you in this video and in the one how to choose a man video, the two-part series of relationships one-on-one, the vetting video, and the one on the low value and high value men. Between those 5 videos, you have you don't even have to watch the other videos on this channel. Between those 5 videos, you have every tool that you need to make a smart decision about who you gonna be with and who you need to cut immediately from the team. All right, so that is our show today from the book of Babylonians 12:13, and I appreciate everybody for coming. Are you dumping him, Jamie? Okay, I'll tell Candace. Cause I don't do I don't mess with them. I see the letters on Tuesday when I sit down here to do the show. That's when I see the letters. I don't get a chance to see them as much as I would love to know all the tea. That's the way we decided to do the show. Learned, I hear them when, yes, Debolonians. I'm telling you, one of these days I'll do that. I'm a write myself a Bible. But shit, if they could do it, so could I. But I really appreciated you guys, sticking around for this long ass conversation. I think it's extremely important. There's a lot of stuff that I probably have touched on in other videos, but now it's all in one, so you can listen to it. Please go and take notes. Okay, there's a lot of things you need to think about the relationship that you have found yourself in the past, and things that patterns that you have been uh, involved in repeatedly in your relationship. I hope that I gave you some things to reframe your thinking and how to analyze the men's behavior and the things they say to you, and what those things, what those behaviors, and what those attitudes, and what those words mean about that man's character and the long term ramifications if you get involved with him and expose yourself to him emotionally. You gonna be roadkill, taking all kind of antidepressants and looking all kind of messed up. The bright, beautiful, smiley yous that I, see, you won't be that woman anymore if you get with one of these kind of guys that we talked about today. They're going to break you down. Okay, your skin starts looking all messed up, hair is all fucked up, nails start breaking and getting all thin. You gain weight or you lose weight and look like you on crack or something. I mean, all kind of horrible things happen, and it's all in the relationship that you choose. The relationship with the man that you choose to be with can either take you to the heights of ecstasy or the depths of despair. You choose. It's all on you. All right, so we got coming up on Tuesday. We got What the Fuck Tuesday. If you want to send in a letter, use the link at the top of the YouTube page or in the show description below. The surviving dating site is down for a little bit till we get that up, but the link still works that you use that direct link. And I will see you, lovely people, on Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you for sitting in with me. Bye bye.